Makers are wondering, do they have the defense to stop the potent offense of the Michigan Wolverines? We've heard about Magic's kingdom and Heisman hopeful Desmond Howard, but even the man they call Magic says we have more weapons than just me. Defending Michigan is like defending any good army. You have to have the men on the front line, and Michigan has the battleship in 6'8", 322-pound Greg Skrepenek. Foot soldiers are the backbone of any army, but they must have a field general to lead them. And the Wolverines' General Patton is this man, Elvis Grbac. Michigan comes at you with a machine gun attack, and the rapid fire comes from the .38 caliber feet of Ricky Powers. And when you slow down the small weapons, it's time to bring on the artillery. And that means bazookas blasting the line like number 30, Jesse Johnson. This offense has foes racing for cover, and Michigan saying, we'll take no prisoners against Purdue in our battle for the Big Ten championship. Welcome to the Big House, Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor, where today the Purdue Boilermakers are in town to battle a fourth-rated Michigan Wolverines. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Physiak. College football's great power the last 112 years has certainly been the Michigan Wolverines, but they have had only one college football player of the year. Tom Harmon, in the year 1940, won the Heisman Trophy. How great was he? Well, in his final game against the Ohio State Buckeyes, he ran for 139 yards and 2 touchdowns. He completed 11 of 12 passes for another 2 touchdowns, intercepted 3 passes, ran 1 back for a touchdown, and still had time for a 50-yard punting average. Francis Schmidt, who was the head coach at Ohio State, said, I don't think anybody in the country can cover this man. And right now they're saying the same thing 51 years later about this man, Desmond Howard, who is just 16 points away from shattering Tom Harmon's 1940 record of scoring in one season. Well, how do you stop this guy? Well, we asked Gary Danielson, my pal, my partner, and he certainly has the answer.
Yeah, right, Steve. I'm going to stop Desmond Howard. I've been down here all day trying to come up with something. Well, I'm going to call it Desmond rules. Remember the Pistons had success with Jordan rules versus Michael Jordan? We're going to have Desmond rules. Rule number 1, jam them. No easy throws out here. Put someone in Desmond's face. Make Grbac throw the ball downfield. Rule number 2, double cover him. On this jam by Indiana right here, notice the defensive back has outside technique. He knows he's got help inside. That way he's able to take Desmond off his route. And remember, it's not 2-on-1 versus Desmond. It's 2-on-2. You're stopping Grbac. Gerbac's not going to beat you running the ball. He's going to beat you throwing the ball. So you've stopped Desmond and Grbac 2-on-2. Rule number 3, take your best defensive back, Jimmy Young, number 22, put him on Desmond? No, let's not waste him. Let's shut down the other side. Put him on Yale Van Dyne over here. He's got 6 interceptions in the Big Ten. Here's an interception last week versus Iowa. He'll do a great job. Don't let Van Dyne beat you. Force him to throw the ball into double coverage. And rule number 4, disguise. Don't let Grbac, who's great at it, know what he's going to do before the snap. Let him come up, a little bit of indecision. When he drops back up here, he's got to make up his mind where he's going to throw the ball. It'll allow you to get some pressure on him and maybe get a couple sacks. All right, let's review here the Desmond rules. Jam him, double cover Desmond, Jimmy Young on Van Dyne, and disguise. That'll give you a chance. But I don't know, maybe the only chance, maybe you should just lock the gate. Steve?
They got to lock up my partner, Gary Danielson, who was a grad assistant coach at Purdue University. Well, right now, it is cold here in Ann Arbor, temperatures in the 30s. And who's the loneliest man at Ann Arbor? Well, how about the good humor man, who you have to have a sense of humor if you're going to sell ice cream on a day like this. I mean, he's trying to keep warm. And who's the loneliest man in America? How about our college football's Tim Brando?
All right. I don't know so much about the lonely. I know I'm a little warmer than that, gentleman. And we've got a lot on the table, a lot on the menu for you as we welcome you to our college football studios, including Casey Weldon, the Florida State Heisman quarterback, who is standing by live in Louisville, Kentucky. He won't be at the Breeders' Cup today. He'll be standing by, taking a look at the television tube with you here on ESPN throughout the course of the day. And during the course of that day, this is only the beginning in the Big Ten. We'll be taking you down to Williams-Brice Stadium. South Carolina and North Carolina State prepare for action at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Charles Davenport, the converted quarterback turned receiver, will be on display for the Wolfpack. And then, of course, we will have the battle in the Big Eight, the battle for the Orange Bowl, certainly the game of the day. Colorado taking on Big Red, the Huskers and the Buffaloes, McCartney and Osborne. They will go at it later today. Speaking of the ACC, let's go back and tell you that Natrone Means has scored on a 66-yard scamper to give North Carolina coach Mac Brown a 7-0 lead over Joe Krivak's Terrapins of Maryland, 7-0. Again, Casey Weldon will be by our sides throughout the entire day. We'll join him at halftime for a live interview as he takes a look with you at Desmond inside those gates at the big house where it is blustery cold. Stephen Gary coming up next.
So we're enjoying our favorite spot, and we see this old guy. Hey, Bob! Then there was this huge wave. We thought the old guy was history. That was hot. Anyway, we were impressed.
Guru dude, want a cold bud?
Groovy. Groovy. Despite our language differences, all surfers share a universal communication. Oops. Whoa.
Can a razor cut your beard off below the skin without the blades even touching your face? It can if it's a Norelco. Norelco's patented lift and cut system lifts the hair, so when it's cut, it can actually drop below skin level without the blades even touching your face. Are you getting a shave this incredibly close and exceptionally comfortable? You are when you shave with Norelco. Norelco, we make close comfortable.
Welcome back to Michigan Stadium, where the big house has been trouble for Purdue. They have not won here in 25 years, where there is the traditional touching of the banner, and they are using gloves to touch it today because it is cold. Cloudy skies, temperatures in the 30, and that wind chill with 20 to 30 mile an hour winds will be down near zero, and we have a chance for snow later today. The Wolverines come into this football game with a one-game lead in the Big Ten at 4-0. Iowa, Indiana, and Ohio State are 3-1. The Buckeyes host the Hawkeyes today, an important game. Purdue and Illinois have 2 wins, 2 losses. Then it's Michigan State, Minnesota, Northwestern at 1-3, and Wisconsin looking for their first win in league play at Illinois. The coaches today, Jim Coletto in his first year at Purdue was the Boilermakers offensive coordinator in 1984 when Jim Everett beat Michigan 31-29. That's the Boilers' last win. Gary Moeller has 15 wins in 2 years at Ann Arbor. His Wolverines beat Purdue last year 38-13 at West Lafayette. And there he is, J.D. Carlson, the kicker from Michigan. He is from Tallahassee, Florida, and he'll be kicking off to Ernest Callaway. And Callaway will take it at the 2-yard line. He's out past the 20 and near the 25-yard line, and that is tying his longest return of the year at 23 yards. Here's a look at our Energizer starting lineups. Purdue will come out at quarterback Eric Hunter, 6'4" junior from Hampton, Virginia. He's thrown for 763 yards this year. The backs and receivers that will join him, Jeff Hill leads the team with 394 yards rushing, 107 last week against Iowa. Boilers' line averages 6'4½", 285. Bob Dressel starting his 3rd year at center, and he is a good one. Well, they'll open with a full house backfield. And Hill gets the call. A flag goes down. A short game by Jeff Hill, who in the opening play last week against Iowa went for 53 yards.
It was an unbalanced line to the left, and I don't know if the end man didn't get up at the line of scrimmage for an illegal formation. It looked like they're calling Michigan lined up offsides. Purdue came out in an unbalanced, full stack, 3 deep, run the ball, don't put it in the air, don't fumble offense, trying to stay in this game early.
Well, the Michigan defensive line is strong against the run, but they need more from Mike Evans. He had 15 sacks the last 2 years. He's still looking for number 1 this year. Linebackers have been beaten up with injuries, but senior Eric Anderson's on his way to leading the Wolverines in tackles 4 straight years. Defensive backs had a strong game at Minnesota. Lance Doughton has 9 career interceptions. Eric Hunter, the quarterback. brought down by Marcus Walker and Eric Anderson.
Two names that you better get used to hearing a lot. Eric Anderson leading the Wolverines 3 straight years, a Butkus candidate, one of the great linebackers ever to play at Michigan, and that means one of the great linebackers ever to play in the Big Ten.
Yeah, they have never had a Michigan player lead the team in tackles 4 straight seasons, and he's probably going to do that if he stays healthy this year. Tedman Brown in the game. He's out wide left with Ernest Callaway. It's 2nd and 5, and Hunter on the option is up near a first down. I think he'll need another yard.
We talked to Jim Coletto, and he said he will try to run option football at Michigan. The reason, they've got 2 young freshman tight ends. They have not been able to run the ball wide by just blocking, so they're going to try to use the option both wide side and tight end side to get the ball around the corner.
Gary, they had a problem with the field. It is very damp. The pumps broke early this morning. How much of that will be a factor in an option
field,
game?
I was out there all day. It was not bad in the middle.
Well, Hunter has himself a 3rd and 1. He's going to throw. He looks downfield, and it is almost intercepted. It was intended for Rodney Dennis. And coming up to break it up, Corwin Brown, who is a junior from Chicago, Illinois.
Well, that just shows you the respect they have for this Michigan defense. There's a situation most teams will line up and run the ball. They went full house that time, 1 wide receiver and thrown the ball. Desmond Howard enters, attempting to get a punt.
He ain't a bad one. 5'9", 174 pounds, from Cleveland. He went to St. Joseph High School. They call him St. Go from St. Joe, and to kick it to him, Eric Broom. And look at this, popping through. Broom can't hold on to it. Michigan has the football inside the 30-yard line.
Like the way Minnesota started the game last week against this powerful Wolverine team, Jim Coletto hoped just to be able to get out there, line up, make a couple first downs, and punt the ball and play some defense. You just can't hand the ball off. A low snap this time, not handled well. You expect your punter to make a play like that, pick it up and at least get it off. Michigan now with the ball on the 26-yard line to start out.
And you're right. Against Minnesota, it was like 21-0, and the Wolverines pounded him thereafter. Howard goes in motion to the left. Gerback in first down, wants to throw, gets it to Howard. He's to the 20-yard line. A gain of 6 yards by Desmond Howard, his 41st catch this year, and that ties him for the Big Ten lead with an Illinois fullback.
What you'll see here is a little bit of a signal by Desmond Howard. No one on him. We talked about it. If you don't put someone on him, he's going to throw that ball. In actuality, only 2 people knew this pass was going to be thrown, Howard and Gerback. Everybody else ran it as a running play. That's just an automatic that is not even called.
2nd down 4. They give it to Powers. He's got the first down. He's to the 10-yard line. Tackle made by Rick Smith. Let's take a look at that Michigan offense led by Elvis Gerback, and he is an outstanding young junior from Willoughby Hills, Ohio. Joining him on offense, we told you all about Desmond Howard. He's the man, 40 catches and 17 touchdowns. Looking for touchdown number 18, but Elvis Gerback and Ricky Powers are all Big Ten caliber players as well. The line is huge, averaging 294 pounds. Steve Everett injured. Matt Elliott moves in at center. 1st and 10, near the 11. Powers to the 5. He will score.
Ricky Powers is one of the great cutback runners in college football. Number 68, Joe Cacuzo, is going to get a great cutoff block against Schwantz. Right there, you see him knock him down. Powers reads the hole, cuts back, and there's nobody better at running the cutback right now than Ricky Powers.
Touchdown number 5, and Jim Coletto, a worried look on his face early in this ballgame. He knew it would be a supreme test with this young football team, and the point after touchdown is good by J.D. Carlson, his 105th in a row without a miss. It's Michigan 7, Purdue nothing.
In today's financial climate, you need the strength and stability of the Buffalo. at Hennessy and Bull's.
Still going. Nothing outlasts the Energizer. They keep going and going and...
Well, here it is, gentlemen. Top of the world. Now, I put my camera here. Your vehicle would face out over the cliffs. What do you think? Look, if you plan to claim your vehicle's as good as a Jeep, you really need this shot in your commercial. How are we going to get our vehicle up here?
Helicopter.
We'll lift it. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Great. Go down and make some calls.
Same thing. It's going to be a great commercial.
Casio presents some of the hottest new faces in sports. He's 7'1", standing still. But when he lifts off, that's another story. He goes basket to basket in seconds flat. And energy, he's got plenty to burn. David Robinson and Casio. Because Casio watches do more than keep time. They keep you ahead of the game.
89% of business travelers don't have a fat expense account. Luckily, you'll find our rates as comfortable as our rooms. Holiday Inn. Stay with someone you know who really knows you.
Today's presentation of Big Ten football, Purdue and Michigan, is brought to you by Jeep. There's only one Jeep. And by Holiday Inn. Stay with someone you know. Call 1-800-HOLIDAY or your travel agent for reservations. Just 3 minutes into this college football game, Michigan, the most potent offense in the Big Ten Conference, averaging 36 points a game, already on the board. 7-0 leaders on Ricky Powers' 11-yard run. And they are talking great offense right now. I mean, they have to be pleased with what they have.
Well, they get a couple injuries. Everett's hurt this time. They slide Elliott back over to center, and Skeen comes back in. They've gone with that lineup before, and they're just as powerful.
Carlson booms it. Callaway from the 3 will give it up to Corey Rogers. And Rogers is barely past the 15-yard line before he is smothered by the Michigan special team.
Let's take another look at that touchdown. This is Kanina, the middle guard. He's going to get pushed by Elliott, but the key block is Kakuzo cutting off Schwantz right here, and you're going to see Ricky Powers cut back into that hole. There's his vision. He sees the block, and there's the hole. Powers does it as well, and the offensive line did a masterful job of creating that open. Kakuzo, 6'4", 290, working as a team, goes out there and takes the legs away from a very aggressive linebacker. Good job.
From the 17-yard line, 1st and 10 for Eric Hunter and Purdue. Corey Rogers or Arlie Connors moves around that right side and is up past the 20-yard line.
Ball carried by Arlie Connors.
Connors, a sophomore from St. Louis, Missouri, tackled by Lance Dotton, the right cornerback.
Lance Dotton assisted.
He injured his ankle a little bit last week, and he had to play simply because Earl Coleman has that hamstring pull, even though he dressed.
Yeah.
Jim Coletta tells us Coleman probably will not play.
We asked him a couple times, "You sure?" We thought it was going to be the other way around with the ankle, and he says he assured us that was the way it was going to go.
2nd and 2 after the gain of 8. Hill has the first down out past the 28-yard line, and you would think that Purdue saying, hey, we want some sustained drives, 5-6 minutes off the clock, to take that fella off the field.
Yeah, a little surprised by that first 3rd down and short call, just for that reason. They want to be able to take time off the clock. They realize when Michigan has that ball, they're tough to stop for anyone, let alone a rebuilding type program at Purdue. Their strength is defense right now. They need to make first downs.
Blitz on, he dumps it off, and they are right near another first down, and that was one area of his game he was heavily criticized by Coach Jim Coletta last week. He was sacked 8 times by Iowa, and they said, throw it away, throw it down. Well, Ricky Powers, he had a healthy gain his last time with an 11-yard run. It took him a minute for Michigan to score and take a 7-0 lead. Powers, 2nd leading running back in the Big Ten Conference behind Vaughn Dunbar, who has over 1,100 yards.
Well, you're right, and what they were frustrated, but understand where Eric Hunter has come from. He's run the run and shoot for 2 years. freshman Big Ten Player of the Year when he had that great game against Michigan down here when he had 4 touchdown passes and over 300 yards passing. And he comes back the next year in a new offense, and he's doing things differently. He's a great player. That's why they're on him. They got to get the day out of him today to win.
Well, he'll roll right, and this is his game. He almost juggled the football, and after a short gain, moves it up near the 40-yard line. And to give you an indication of how special that 4 touchdowns, he was the first player ever to throw 4 touchdowns against a Michigan defense.
Yeah, we just saw a shot in the background. You were talking Chris Hutchinson, who made that tackle, coming off again. He's had back problems. It looked that time that he just got his shoulder or something pinched on that play, and he's in a little bit of pain.
He's a junior from Houston, Texas, and they say he may be the best defensive lineman we've ever had, but he must stay healthy. Steve Rakowski goes in for him. They give it to Hill, and he'll blast up near the 44-yard line. It will be 3rd down, a long 4, short 5. Mike Evans brings him down, the right side defensive tackle.
Chris Hutchinson has leads this team in tackles for a loss. On the play versus Hunter, he came in the backfield and tried to make a play. It looks like he got overextended. It's going to come from the right side of your screen right here. Reaches out. It looks like he landed on his right shoulder or something and just barely made the tackle.
3rd and 4. They're going to the air. They bring a linebacker. Hunter in trouble. And finally unleashes it and completes the pass at the 48-yard line up near a 1st down. Coleman Wallace was the man to bring him down, and they'll mark it for a 1st down. How about that from the very talented Eric Hunter?
Michigan's in with their nickel, bringing on the blitz right now. Anderson not only is rushing the passer, he's covering that player. So he rushes, makes the play, but watch the strong quarterback throw that ball off balance and make a tremendous 1st down effort. Now, one of the things that you have to live with when you're a coach of a guy who can scramble like that is when he has success scrambling like that, he has a tendency to hold on to the ball and try to do it later in the game. Let's see if it happens.
This time he will be stopped for a 3-yard loss.
And Mike Evans did a great job. It was the trap option where the backside guard tries to block the defensive end. Evans made a play playing off the lineman and then accounted for the quarterback. On the option, you have to get past the defensive end and option on the linebacker.
8th play of this drive, they have taken nearly 4 minutes off the clock and keeping that talented Michigan offense off the field.
This is exactly the situation that Jim Coletto wants to avoid. 2nd and more than 10 yards. Just get back to even.
Well, we'll have a timeout here in the 1st quarter. We have 7 minutes and 51 seconds to play, 1st period. Michigan has the lead 7-0 on a Ricky Powers 11-yard run. Thank you, Tim. On 2nd down and 13. They'll lose another yard as they option to the left side, so it'll make it 3rd down and 14 now for Eric Hunter, the Purdue quarterback.
On the option play, this man must be blocked. This guy, the defensive end, is who you want to option off. Watch Hutchinson play off his block right here and make the play on the quarterback. If you don't get to the 4th man in the defense, you can't run the option.
Showing blitz. No. Straight rush. Noseman reverses himself. They complete the pass. And it's up near the 45-yard line, shy of a 1st down with a tackle that's made by Coleman Wallace.
Michigan dropped back in a nice zone that time, took advantage of the down and distance, made Hunter throw the ball short of the 1st down, and let Purdue punt.
Desmond Howard back in the field. And here's Matt Brune. He leads the Big Ten in punting, but last time the center did not give him the football very well. Skipped it to him. Brune dropped it, landed at the 26. Michigan took over, and a minute later they were on the board. Howard will have no chance to return this. I mean, the Purdue coaches were telling us this week, hey, we are going to kick it away from number 21 every chance we can get.
Well, it's kind of easy into that strong wind. Purdue is going into the wind in the first half. Jim Coletto has to be a little bit pleased with the way he's been able to run the ball inside against Michigan, although his plan to use option football so far has not worked. They haven't been able to block the guys inside.
What was it last week when he wouldn't dump that ball off?
Get back off the ball. And that tackle, they ran the loops. The tackle's upfield. The guard's trapping.
There you heard it right there. If that tackle's upfield, he's got to run inside of it.
There's Big Mo. He had Bo for so many years, and then his defensive coordinator, Gary Moeller, took over.
They only had to change one letter on the headset right there.
Saving money.
From a B to an M right there. There you see him calling the plays right there, even though they go no huddle.
Second down, 8 yards to go after a 2-yard run by Powers. Yale Van Dyne in motion. They give it to Powers, and Purdue's defense right there, led by their nose tackle, Jeff Scanina, and inside linebacker, Jim Schwantz. Now, Purdue defensively, that line is 2 stars out, but the anchor, Jeff Scanina, is healthy and can dominate the middle. He's a 450-pound bench presser. Linebackers are the key to their defense. Jim Schwantz is the leader, 4th in the Big Ten in tackles with 90. The secondary had a terrific first half against Iowa, and Jimmy Young is a big reason why his 6 interceptions lead this conference. He'll be all alone out there with Walter Smith. Tight end is Simmons in motion. Gerback falls down at the 10-yard line.
Got to believe he was stepped on his toe. It happens a lot. The center will step back, or the guard will step in, and it steps on the quarterback's toe when you're starting to take your drop.
You've got Matt Elliott, a new center in there, moving from left guard, and he is a good one, but Steve Everett and Elvis Gerback are so sure together.
Actually, they're down to their 3rd center in a way, because Everett and Milia, their first 2 people are hurt, so they've slid Matt Elliott over, and Doug Skeen has moved in.
And he is Kona. Boy, he barely got it away. Callaway will let it roll, and Purdue will have excellent field position when they come back. There's a time out of the field. Purdue will have it at the Michigan 43-yard line with 4:19 to play in this first quarter. Every week in the Big Ten Conference, we go on campus to find out who will be our student sideline reporter, and this week it's Terry Talifera, and there she is, studying a master's program in journalism. We'll be talking with her shortly. But right now, Purdue with the first down at the Michigan 43-yard line. 7-0 Wolverines lead, and we've got a little trouble here as Jeff Hill scrambles for maybe a yard. Terry, what do you have for us?
Well, the cold weather and overnight rains have caused more of a problem than expected for the Wolverines. The new prescription athletic turf designed by a Purdue man actually flooded over today. Earlier this morning, around 8:30 a.m. this morning, the Michigan ground crew was out here trying to make this field playable. The combination of frozen rains and standing water has caused the grass to actually separate from the field. Ironically, the Purdue side didn't even get wet. Back to you.
Thank you, Terry. We've got a 2nd down and 8 for the Boilermakers. Hunter to the air, has the time, completes the pass to Jeff Hill, and it's close to a first down. Tim Brando, what do you have for us?
No problems with the artificial surface at BC, Steve. Take a look at Foley over the middle to Mark Chmura, premier tight end in the country, and BC leading Pitt. Pitt's lost 3 times in a row. Remember that.
7-0 here, Tim, as Ricky Powers went in from 11 yards out. And Purdue will face a 3rd down and 1 situation.
Remember last time they threw in this situation. This time I think you'll see them run the ball. They're on balance to the left again.
On the option, Hunter is up near a first down, and I believe he has it.
Quarterback Eric Hunter carry.
Marcus Walker, inside linebacker, who is replacing a very talented sophomore, and Steve Morrison makes the hit.
I've been in a number of offenses that have used an on-balance line, even in the pro game occasionally, and never really understood what it accomplished, except for to try to get the defense to look at something a little bit different. You got to get the feeling there that they're trying to get some help for the center and trying to get that nose man off the center to help with his block.
Well, they've got 2 very good nose men, and Tony Henderson and Buster Stanley. Purdue has outgained Michigan as a after the 26-yard touchdown drive they had. They've lost 4 on their last possession. Hunter tries to keep it again, but boy, he is read beautifully by the right side of that defense. Well, coming your way on ESPN later today, part of our triple-header is North Carolina State, the number 19 team in the nation, against the South Carolina Gamecocks. That's today at 4 o'clock Eastern Time. Then tonight, Nebraska and Colorado, and it seems like the last 3 years those two teams have gotten together, it has been a great show. Nebraska number 9, Colorado number 15, but the Buffaloes have been outstanding the last 2 weeks. 2nd and 10. To the 25-yard line. He'll need 3 more for the first down as Eric Anderson, number 37, brings him down.
Exactly what it was. Long situation right there. Anderson's going to read the drop. Eric, number 37, right side of your screen, going to come back, and then he reads the draw right away. Jeff Hill's going to chime up and try to make a block, but he makes the miss. Great linebackers avoid the blocker and make the tackle. 3rd and 4, 3rd and 3 situation.
Really beginning to show their strength. Hunter, incomplete at the 15-yard line.
Boy, I tell you, Eric Anderson put one on Hunter just as he let that ball go right then when he was driving, and I think he's injured. There you see him. He really hit him as he let it go. It was a bootleg action. The man in the flat. Connors was covered. Let's track Anderson on this play. He's reading it. It's not a blitz. And then he sees the bootleg action. He goes out to the side, and then when Hunter fakes like a run, he just puts a beeline on him, takes about 3 steps at him. Really wasn't a cheap shot or anything. Just kind of gave him a shoulder, and it appears that he landed on his elbow as he came down.
Boy, really pulled back that right shoulder, and his backup is just an 18-year-old true freshman by the name of Matt Pike. He is from Huntington, Indiana. And Jim Coletto said he is going to be a fine one. Look at this year.
Yeah.
Over 60% of his passes.
Has an understanding how to throw the ball from high school. Now, you'd wonder why they're not going for a field goal. It is dead into the wind. That would be a tough field goal shot. Their odds are better going for the first down.
If they went for the field goal, it'd be from 42 yards out. We told you at the beginning of the ball game, winds are blowing at 20 to 30 miles an hour. So here we go. 4th and 3. Matt Pike, straight drop back. Looks, throws. It's dropped at the 12-yard line. Tedman Brown.
Yeah, he had
softball from Houston, Texas.
Matt Pike did a play-action pass. He had Tedman Brown open, read it the right way. He threw it to the right guy, just threw it a little bit low, and Brown couldn't come up with the catch.
North Carolina is up on Maryland 14-0.
Well, Memphis State going to shock somebody else this year again after doing it to USC? That would be a big one.
Well, Michigan's offense takes over. They have the 7-0 lead. They have total just 22 yards total offense, but they had the one short drive of 26 yards for the touchdown. Walter Smith in motion. And they give it to Powers, and Powers slides around left side for about a gain of 5 yards. You know, they send that little Walter Smith in motion. He makes defensive backs angry. He put another good hit on a defensive back as he tried to lead the way for Ricky Powers.
Jerry Moeller talked yesterday to us about last year doing the scout team. Everybody was trying to kill him because he kept blocking everybody in practice. He is a tough football player.
And you might be hearing a lot about Walter Smith in the future. Desmond Howard leaving after this year or 1992 season. Powers past the 30, gets the first down.
Well, I'll tell you, Eric Gray is just a true freshman, number 75 for Purdue, and he's going up against Skrepenik, number 75 for Michigan. Now, when you weigh 325 pounds and you're all pro, you can take a freshman no matter how tough he is in high school, and it's a little different. Watch him. He pushes him. That's 5 yards down the field. Now, that's 8 yards down the field. That's 12 yards down the field, and right at the end of that play, he's going to pancake him right into the back of the field.
And this is a guy who played varsity football at the age of 13. He was so big, and he still is. They're back on play action. He's going for the home run. Howard is well covered, and he falls down, and there's the flag.
Well, Desmond Howard puts out about 5 fakes on this play right here. And I don't know who pushed first. Let's just take a look at it. Well, obviously, we've got him isolated. That makes sense. You're going to have your cameras on Desmond Howard. He comes out, he comes in, he goes back out, then he's going to come back in. He gives him a little shove. The ball's thrown over his head back to the outside. Looks like their feet get tangled. I don't know. That's a tough call.
It looks like incidental contact.
Yeah. 15-yard previous spot. First down. You go back to the line of scrimmage now and you give a 15-yard penalty. And how do you cover Desmond Howard if you're not allowed to do that? And that's tough football right there, because that ball was thrown all over with the wind too, Steve. I was down there. That ball is blowing all over, and both the receiver and the defensive back is trying to chase that thing down.
And I'm sure Jim Coletto's saying, hey, it looked like Howard and Young's feet got caught up. It did not look like Young was trying to get in his way.
And the great player gets the call in that situation. You know, it's like in the NBA or anything else. You're going to go with the great player, and his reputation helps.
So you're saying if Bart Kofod is covering Michael Jordan, Jordan's going to get the call.
That sometimes happens.
Jesse Johnson in there, and he is met beautifully at the line of scrimmage by Skanina and Eric Beatty.
Ball carried by number 30, Jesse Johnson.
We are in the closing moments of this first period, and Jim Coletto has given up just 7 points on the 26-yard drive by Michigan. We'll head to second quarter action. Michigan on an 11-yard run by Ricky Powers. That's a 7-0 lead in the Boilermakers. Michigan with a 7-0 lead, and with the wind chill right around 10 degrees, there's the place to be, and Shea Foster has found it next to the heater.
Can't see much, but it's warm.
We've got a 2nd and 9 situation for Michigan after Purdue 47. And they'll go to Jesse Johnson. He loses the football. Gerback in the dive for it. And it looks like Michigan will recover, but back inside their own 40-yard line.
I'll tell you, talk about putting your helmet on the football. Rick Smith, strong safety for Purdue that time, had Powers bounce it out to him, and he came up and put his helmet right on the ball. That ball bounced back about 20 yards. Watch left part of your screen right here. You're going to see Smith come up, full head of steam, and put it right on the ball. Boink. There it goes. 10, 50. Now it's a race. This is a good race. Gerback against an inside linebacker, and Elvis beats him to the ball.
So it's 3rd and 25 for the Wolverines. And Elvis calls timeout. They had the nickel defense in there. Gerback did not like what he saw, so he takes timeout, and we will as well. 14:09 to play first half. Michigan up on Purdue. Today's presentation of Big Ten football, Purdue and Michigan, is brought to you by Buick and your local Buick dealers. Remember Buick, the new symbol for quality in America. Michigan with a 7-0 lead, and they had a great opportunity after Matt Brune fumbled the punt away, and a 26-yard drive kept by a Ricky Powers touchdown. We've got a 3rd and 25 situation. They send everybody. They get it to Desmond Howard, and Howard is past midfield, but about 11 yards shy of a first down. A 14-yard gain. He has 2 catches in the day, now 42 on the year.
This is a wide receiver screen to Desmond Howard. We can run it. You can see Purdue is in a deep zone right here. Now watch on the snap of the ball right here. Purdue's going to drop back long yardage. Now freeze it right here. Now look at the linemen for Michigan. They're downfield, which is legal. You have to catch the ball behind the line of scrimmage. There's the screen to Desmond Howard into the open field.
And it's partially blocked. And it will be down near the 42-yard line. A flag is down. Did they rough the kicker?
Well, if you tip the ball, they're going to pick it up. So I think it's going to be a fair play right there. And there you see it.
There's no roughing the kicker. The man that hit the kicker tipped the ball. First down.
Dan Brecky, a senior from Bristol, Indiana. He's the hero of the moment. And let's go to our hero back at our game day studios, Tim Brando.
Rutgers had a touchdown call back, Steve, and then they had to settle for the field goal. On the following possession, West Virginia's Darren Studstill will find James Jett, fastest receiver in college football for pure speed. He gets the touchdown. It's 13-3 Mountaineers.
And here it's 7-0, Tim. Michigan with the lead. Purdue has the football, and Hunter to the air. He dumps it off. Hill is stopped for a gain of 2. He is gang tackled by Lance Dotton, among others.
There's the man who got the block right there. Came in, gets his hand. Now, he does rough him a little bit, but he gets his hand on the punt. Brecky, coming from the right side, is going to get up. You see him, he touches the ball, and his chest runs into the foot right there. So that's a chest shot right there. They called interference, and then roughing the kicker, and then you look up and see if he touched the ball, and you wave it off. Good call by the officials.
Hunter on second down gives it to Hill, and he pops across the 45-yard line out near the 47, and this Jeff Hill has really been impressive of late. Well, tomorrow on ESPN, we've got NFL Game Day coming away at noon Eastern Time with Chris Berman and the fellas, and then at NFL Prime Time, 7 o'clock, followed by the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Denver Broncos. That should be a good one, because the Broncos are locked in a battle with the Raiders and the Kansas City Chiefs for the top spot in the AFC West. 8 o'clock Eastern on ESPN.
You mentioned Jeff Hill. He's averaging 6.2 yards a carry. Remember, this is a team that was last in the NCAA in rushing last year.
Hunter looking. He has an option. He'll keep it. He'll get the first down at the 45-yard line.
A one-man route that time. They brought Hunter on the corner, sprinted him out so he couldn't get the sack pressure from both sides. Had a one-man route to Tedman Brown. Didn't have him quite open, turned up and got the first down. This is what Lloyd Carr, defensive coordinator from Michigan, was fearful of. He knew Jim Coletto right there was going to take advantage of the great athlete, and Carr says, I'm worried about Hunter. I know what he can do. I saw him here 2 years ago. We have to keep him in the pocket.
From the 44, a first down. Play action. They complete the pass to Arlie Connors, and Connors is getting another first down. Well, Purdue's offense using up the clock. It's down to 11:29, and through the first 18-plus minutes of this college football game, we have a look at one score, and that is Ricky Powers' 5th touchdown of the season. Time of possession is rather important. The Purdue Boilermakers saying we want to keep that Michigan offense off the field. They've only been out there 4 minutes and 54 seconds. Plenty of time. And Hunter will break the 30-yard line, but that's one area of the game there is some question about. Michigan's defense and their pass rush and also the secondary.
Well, we saw Indiana do a job of moving the ball around and spreading the field out with 4 wide receivers. Purdue does not feel confident in being able to pass block well enough for Eric Hunter to do that. You see him in very tight formations. They're using play-action passes. Lloyd Carr, nothing surprising him here. He knew that that was going to be the game plan for Purdue. Trouble is, when you have a great athlete at quarterback, you're worried that he's going to beat you running the ball.
2nd and 9. Short gain by Jeff Hill near the 27-yard line. I was looking at this stat, Gary. Eric Hunter, 6 completions, 5 to running backs. You remember last week when he was heavily criticized by his coach for not dumping it off?
Well, if you look at the films pretty closely, too, Eric, there weren't a lot of guys open to dump the ball off, and he had situations when he was throwing the ball 3rd and 20, 2nd and 19, and it's hard for a competitor to throw the ball short in those situations. The reason Jim Coletto's tough on Eric Hunter, he thinks he has talent, and he wants him to play quarterback the way he can play in this system.
Well, it's 3rd and 6 right here. He'll keep it to the 25-yard line. That is all. It'll be 4th down and another decision time here with that swirling wind near 20, 30 miles an hour. Jim Coletto, will he send on O'Leary, who does not have a great lead. He has strong accuracy.
Except he does have the wind this time behind him. It's very strong on your screen, right to left. I don't know, that must be a 300-pound flag because it's blowing a little harder than that right now. Because I tell you, he can get the distance from this direction. It's right to left and a little bit of an angle on your screen right there from the right-hand corner to the left-hand top corner, bottom corner to the top corner.
Well, this will be a career best. 42 yards out.
Has to get it in the air. The grass is long.
clock showing 0, so that would be a penalty against Purdue.
I wonder if that changes their strategy now, too.
Golly.
Dead ball, delay a game, on the offense, still 4th down.
Now they go back and take the 47, and Coletto's saying, no, let's change this.
Let's go punt. Let's go back to our offense. I think he's just going to run the ball here or run a play.
Or punt. No, they're sending on their offensive team. You're right. Hunter's back out there, and it is a 4th down and 9 situation.
Michigan's going to call a timeout. Yeah. Michigan didn't have enough people on the field. That kind of, you know, when it's one of those situations where one team doesn't know what they're doing, it's hard to defend them on the other side of the field.
Well, Lloyd Carr will have some talking during this timeout. Michigan has a 7-0 lead with 8:46 to play in the first half. For those two coaches, Gary Moeller, he's probably thinking, are they going to punt it or are they going to go for it on 4th down? And Jim Coletto's saying, hey, we could put them in terrible field position, or we can go for it on 4th and 9.
Michigan has their nickel unit in. They changed 6 people on this play.
And a left tackle pulled away, and now I think you're going to see a punt after a flag is thrown.
Purdue called timeout before it happened, and the left tackle, very similar to what happened a couple weeks ago, the reason it was not a penalty is he was in a 2-point stance there, and he moved back. Had it drawn Michigan off sides, it would have been a penalty, but Hunter was smart enough to call a timeout and get into that situation.
Now that's Kevin Janiak, who is a left tackle from Riverside, Illinois, and they also have Caldwell, Dressel, Chronopoulos, and Schmidt on that front line. It was strong in the first half last week against Iowa, and then they fell apart in the second half, giving up 7 of their 8 sacks to those Hawkeyes.
One of the things Jim Coletto has tried to do is get into some of these players' faces at Purdue. One of the things when he came here he saw, just looking at these guys, is nobody believed. They didn't believe they could go and compete in the Big Ten. Yeah, they got their scholarship. They went out there. They made a good showing. He wanted to say, I expect that next step. We expect you to go out there and not just compete. We want to win some games, guys. And he's brought that face-to-face confrontation to the Purdue team, and they have responded.
He's got 3 wins this year. The Wild Kingdom, a study on Wolverines.
And how they react.
Over Boilermakers.
See, I write them better than I read them. That's my problem right here.
By Gary Danielson. Desmond Howard, a leading candidate to win the Heisman Trophy this year. He has 17 touchdowns on the season. Still looking for his first one in this ball game. And he has a string of 9 straight games with a score. Incomplete at the 10-yard line. He was trying to find his fullback, Arlie Connors. So Michigan will take over. Do you like the decision, Gary? Because Michigan, with that great offense, would you rather see them push them back?
Well, I don't like it now, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Now that they've got the ball on the 30-yard line. One of the things is, you understand, if you punt it and it goes into the end zone, it's only going to be a 9-yard punt, and you got the ball on the 20-yard line. I'm sure that was his thinking. Now, if you knew you were going to punt it and get it out at the 5- or 6-yard line, you'd go for it, but who knows? I know one thing. Gerback's happy. Moeller's happy now because you have about 40% more offense you can run from the 30 than the 10.
Gerback has 8:41 to work with. Howard's to the top of your screen. He'll run the football, and Scanina's there, and he wraps up Ricky Powers.
Well, Jeff Scanina, the great nose tackle for Michigan, was in a 4-man front last year when Purdue was running the 4-3. He doesn't make as many tackles as nose tackle because you get double-teamed a lot more. But he led the Big Ten in tackles for a defensive lineman last year, and if he can make those plays in the backfield, that is going to be a good defensive unit for Purdue.
Now they're putting Michigan in that passing situation here at 2nd and 12. Gerback having to scramble, unloads it to Yale Van Dyne, first down midfield.
Well, in my open, we kind of had a little bit of fun on how you would try to stop Desmond Howard. And we said, don't let Desmond Howard get the ball easy. You can see it. It's a zone defense right here. He clears out, and that's what opens Yale Van Dyne to the inside to throw this thing. What I like what Elvis Gerback does so well is he throws the ball from A to B accurately. He you have to be accurate to be a good thrower at any level.
Gain of 22. Here's the reverse. Howard. He's to the 45-yard line, and he's out of bounds for an 8-yard gain. Breaks Krupenek leading the way. That big, massive 6'8", 322-pound battleship from Pennsylvania.
A little bit of a reverse here. Get the ball into the hands of your best player right here. Doug Skeen, the guard, is going to come out and lead him, but Howard passes him. Like the house standing by the side of the road, is one of my favorite people used to say. Ernie Harwell.
Well, Desmond comes out on 2nd and 2. They give the football to Powers. First down and more as he breaks one tackle and lunges forward to the 34-yard line. Tim Brando, let's go with you. What do you have?
Knoxville, Tennessee, and Memphis State taking on the Volunteers, and Keith Benton going to work for Chuck Stobart's club. He'll look for John Bush, and he goes 61 yards. And look out, Vols. The Memphis State Tigers are an underdog team that plays very well in 91.
Well, here in Ann Arbor, it's a 1st and 10, and Michigan will run the football at the middle of that Purdue defense, and the football near the 31-yard line. Desmond Howard last week against Minnesota took a couple of hard pops in the middle of his body, and he had to step off the field for a little while, came back on, scored a couple of touchdowns against the Gophers.
Yeah, as we said, I don't know if there is a way of defensing a guy. You can't put in a new defense in 1 week, but you've got to force him into the middle of the field and put some hits on him. That's your only chance, slowing him down.
On 2nd and 7, Jesse Johnson in, and he lunges forward near the 27-yard line.
Jesse Johnson, the ball carrier.
This is what scares you. When Michigan gets this running game going, and sooner or later you have to come up and play that running game, and then they're going to hit you with the long pass on that play action.
Pennsylvania up on Yale 6-3. And those Big Ten scores, I know we saw earlier that Indiana had taken the lead on Minnesota 7-0, and we will be at Minneapolis next week for Ohio State and Minnesota. It is 3rd down, a long 2.
Purdue has a guy hurt down the sideline right there, and I really can't tell who it is. Beatty, I think it is.
Eric Beatty. He's that 6', 241-pound junior from Oak Park, Michigan. He's stolen from the Wolverines. Beatty, who is great against the run, will leave now.
You could tell he's got his right ankle taped very heavily, and that appears to be where he hurt on that play, is his right ankle.
Gerback, as they were taking him off, went immediately to the sideline to visit with his coach and offensive coordinator, Gary Moeller. And Howard is back in the game. He will go wide right.
Purdue has given him nothing but zone so far. No man-to-man coverage.
Johnson, first down. Boy, he punishes you, doesn't he?
Yeah, he
fumbles the football, and I think Purdue may have it. Yes, they do.
That time it was Pat Johnson, number 29, the free safety, coming and just laying one on him. Hitting the man full speed from the secondary. That's the type of Big Ten football you have to play, because you know you're going to get the physical football from Michigan, and you have to match it up. You're going to see it. The free safety has to be the great open field tackler. Johnson's going to get the ball and break. Now watch number 29 hit him on the run. Perfect situation. Shoulder pad on helmet, and there's the ball in between his legs, and Purdue ends up with the fumble.
And that is the second time Jesse Johnson has fumbled in this game. And there's Pat Johnson, who was their defensive most valuable player in the loss to Iowa last week. The house cat, Jesse Johnson. Purdue has the football. They're trailing by 7-0 with 5:41 remaining first half. Incomplete at the 40-yard line, 48-yard line. That receiver was Rodney Dennis. Cincinnati, who surprised Louisville, is up on Kentucky 7-0. Texas Tech leading Texas 3-0.
Well, Michigan right now is knowing they need to stop right here and get that ball back in a situation and put it in their offense's hands. And on the other side of the field, Purdue is looking for 2 first downs to finish off this half.
On 2nd and 10. They're showing the 5-man front. Now they drop back at linebacker. And Hunter on the keeper. Gains maybe 2.
Well, Eric Hunter, the time he has been able to get outside the defensive end and option it, has refused to pitch the ball back to Jeff Hill. He's been open a couple of times, and so far they've got past the first set of the option of getting by the defensive end, but he has not done the third part of pitching it to your trail man.
You know, Michigan has continued with that 50 defense. It's really a bend, don't break.
It always has been, and they play it as well as anybody in the country playing their system.
3rd and 7. He'll blast forward, and I think he's got the first down. He needed to get out to the 33-yard line. Let's see where they mark it.
Michigan gambled that time with the blitz from the safety back. Purdue caught him with a draw and was able to pick up enough yards for the first down. You see Eric Anderson, he's reading it. He's coming out. There's a lineman on his face. He tries to get his shoulder forward, and Purdue got a very favorable spot that time. It looked like Hill's knee was down a good yard short of that.
You take a look at his career, over 370 tackles. Ron Simpkins, the all-time tackle leader at Michigan with 516. He went on to play football for the Cincinnati Bengals.
We're going to run it to the right.
Near the 34. Jeff Hill again. Out past the 38-yard line where the tackle is made by number 65, Neil Simpson.
They've already lost Earl Coleman, their backup fullback, who started last week against Iowa. Arlie Connors, their starting fullback now, is on the bench. And that's going to be problems for Purdue in this football game.
Houston Malden is a backup fullback, very good blocking. You can tell how cold it is. Look at the steam coming off of Arlie Connors' head. We've got a 2nd and 5 situation. There's Malden as we run the pro set for Purdue. Hunter, trouble there. He throws the ball away, incomplete. And that's one area of the game I think Jim Coletta might be smiling about, because he was sacked those 7 times second half, and Coletta said, hey, throw the ball in the 55th row.
Yeah, well, he didn't say it like that.
Okay.
He had a few more words in there.
I had to clean it up.
We are cable, but we can't even say some of the things there. What he did there is made a 15-yard gain. The 10 yards he would have lost on the sack, a 15-yard sack, and he gets it back again 3rd and 5. That's a play that a quarterback has to make, and you get a lot more leeway in the college game than you do in the pro. He would have called in the grasp on that play in the pro game. Good play by Hunter there.
3rd and 5. Side again, and Michigan's defense is there.
Yeah, guess who? Chris Hutchinson, too, I'll bet. When you see those tackles in the backfield, oh, was it Eric Anderson? Yeah, well, if it has a 7 on the jersey, it's Hutchinson and Eric Anderson. Those two guys make a lot of plays. He reads it this time. He's got man-to-man coverage on one of the backs, leads him right into the other, and he makes the tackle on the blocking back. Nice play, by the way, Eric Anderson.
Second leading scorer in the nation, just under 15 points per game, awaiting the punt, and it's blocked. Up near midfield, Michigan will have the football, and it's out of bounds at the 43-yard line. Otis Williams blocks Matt Bruin for the first time this year. 17 yards in the punt. Wolverines take over with 3:06 to play. Casey, I want to remind you that it was Gary Danielson who said that you and Florida State would have that Michigan turf on your uniform when you played here and beat him 51-31. He had to rub it into you, Gary, so maybe he'll have a little comment for you.
Appreciate that, Pards. I point that out. Let's go back to that punt. Let's change the subject here. Here you go, Bruin right here. Now, Jim Coletta thought he took his time a little bit on this. Bruin had plenty of time. He glanced up, and you see Williams comes in and gets his hand on it. Purdue was fortunate that it bounced forward and not backwards. When he came to the sideline, he got an earful, let me tell you, from Coletta.
And right now, Michigan has good field position. They've got a 2nd and 10. Again, double coverage on Desmond, and they really hit him at the line of scrimmage and dump it off to Powers, and Ricky's to midfield, and escapes one man, and then goes out of bounds. 1 yard shy of a first down.
This time Purdue is sitting back in a zone. but you're going to have to get somebody to put Desmond Howard, as we talk, someone on his face, take him out of his route. This time it's Delvey, the Pete, who knocks down Hunter, takes him out of the route, but it was a screen pass right here. You're going to see Jimmy Young come up, Powers makes him miss, goes in, out to the outside. Ricky Powers, one-on-one, very tough to bring down.
Look at that, Boilermakers, 18 minutes in the first half. So Powers trying to slam off the right side for the first down, and the clock winding down to 2 minutes and 47 seconds remaining first half. It's a first down. Powers back in there after Jesse Johnson fumbled the ball twice. They also have a third-string running back with the name of Tyrone Wheatley, who had a brilliant game last week against Minnesota, 71 yards rushing, and another couple of touchdowns. But Powers, second leading running back in the Big Ten Conference, came in with 802 yards. They throw it to Desmond, 40-yard line. He cuts outside. Howard could go. Touchdown number 18 this year. Well, you put the football in the best guy's hands one way or another. This is the screen to the wide receiver. We saw it before. He catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage. Guys get blocks all over the field. Great blocking by all the Michigan players downfield. And Desmond Howard puts 6 more points on the board. And I'll tell you, he's something when he has that football in the broken field. 47 yards at the touchdown. Carlson with the point after. Michigan takes a 14-0 lead, and Desmond Howard has just tied an NCAA record. A record of 10 straight games scoring a touchdown set by Mike Cronister, Brigham Young in 1977.
The first time I ever saw this play, the rocket ran, and what you're going to do is bring this receiver behind the line of scrimmage, Desmond Howard. Everybody's going to drop, the linebacker's going to drop, and then the linemen come out and get the blocks, and it's a screen to your wide receiver. Very tough to defense. It's a very safe play. You throw it, it has to be completed behind the line of scrimmage. Now watch all the blocks out here. People finding people to block. That springs them. Yale Van Dyne gets the key block to actually spring them into the end zone. And Desmond Howard, as it's come so easy to say, puts another 6 points on, and Gerback to Howard.
And Gary, you know Anthony Carter very well. And Desmond was compared to Anthony throughout his career, and they were saying, hey, Gary said, AC was like Willie Mays. He was natural, but Desmond runs his route so perfectly, and technically he is a very skilled player, and he thinks that's the edge he has in AC.
Well, I don't know if you can really separate which guy's better. You know, each has their own skills. One thing I do know, that AC did not have the advantage of having that ball thrown to him as many times as Desmond Howard did. There would be games when he didn't even get a pass snipped his way.
Well, Purdue takes the short kick at the 34-yard line. Coming up at halftime, got all the college football scores and highlights coming your way with Tim Brando and Lee Corso. And scores and highlights of Memphis State against number 14 Tennessee and Texas Tech and Texas. Both games are very tight. And right now, Memphis State, last time we checked, had the lead on the number 14 Vols. Also, an interview with Casey Weldon as we have the 2 Heisman Trophy candidates on ESPN today.
Yeah, well, he's my All-American quarterback, though, Casey Weldon. Just, Casey, you hear that? Everybody, don't get on me too much.
Hunter escapes pressure. He'll make something happen here. And he's down to the 40-yard line. A gain of 6. It'll be second down and 4 yards to go.
Yeah, he is a great athlete. He makes people miss. There's 2 minutes to go in the half, and now down 14 points. It's going to get tougher and tougher for Purdue to just take those little throws. And as Casey said, competitors don't like to throw the ball away. They think they can make a play on every time. And Eric Hunter's going to have to be disciplined. They do not need a turnover right now and let it get out of hand.
He needs 4 for the first down. Throws underneath, has Callaway. First down up near midfield.
Eric Hunter, again, got to get a little bit of a hurry up right now. Made a first down, get the plays in. You still would like to get 3 points, 7 points before halftime.
A minute 39 and now it's down to a minute and a half. Michigan with that 14-0 lead of Powers' 11-yard touchdown and a 47-yard reception for a score by Desmond Howard. 10th straight game he has scored at least one touchdown. 18 touchdowns in 1 year by a wide receiver. I mean, you take a look at the numbers of the Rocket, Rocket Ismail.
You just can't compare his numbers against anybody that's ever played. And I think the credit has to go to Moeller for recognizing that talent and Gerback to be willing to use it and put the ball in a position to give it to him.
2nd and 9. They complete the pass to Corey Rogers, and then he drops it near midfield.
If anybody, 15 years ago would have said that the two finalists for the Heisman Trophy is a quarterback from Florida State, an all-girl university a while back, and a wide receiver from Michigan, people would have thought you were nuts. But those are the two best players in college football right now.
There's Desmond.
I tell you, the guy can play. He knows all the ball boys on the sideline. Everybody's smiling with him, has a good time. Just enjoys playing football and might be a better basketball player than football player.
Wait a second. It's 3rd and 9 for Eric Hunter. And they got all kinds of problems here as Arlie Connor's going to be wrapped up.
Yeah, their biggest problem is they got to punt the ball right now, too. I think Michigan should take a timeout. They've got one left and force them to punt that ball. Michigan should call a timeout. And they have. I must be wired to mow in this game right now. Yeah, you have to do it. You have to force them. They've had trouble punting the ball. You go in there, you might block it.
All right, we'll take time out as well. 34 seconds to play. And the Wolverines up on Purdue, 14-0. It's been a day to forget for that man, Matt Bruin. First snap he received to punt the football was juggled, recovered by Michigan. They went in for a touchdown. Last time it was blocked. And later, a touchdown was scored by Desmond Howard. This time he unloads and hits it well for 53 yards.
I'll tell you, Jim Coletto right now is telling him if he'd have done that last time, it would be 7-0 still. He took his time last time, and that hurt him.
Well, coming up at halftime, we'll be talking with Tim Brando and Lee Corso, who will be interviewing Casey Weldon of Florida State, one of the great college quarterbacks this year. And Memphis State, last time we checked, they had the lead on number 14, Tennessee, and Texas Tech was up on the Longhorns 3-0, but that was late moments of first quarter action, so they should be near halftime right now. 27 seconds to go here in Ann Arbor. And Michigan showing an offensive look like we're going at halftime.
That's their
that 2-touchdown lead.
That's their going for a hot chocolate look. At halftime, we're going for a victory look.
Them and us both.
Let's do it.
Elvis heads to halftime. Jim Coletto leaves. He's got an interview to go.
Yeah, but Jim thinks that's our guy for TV right now. See, he doesn't know that's the Michigan radio guy right there that he's doing an interview with.
Purdue, a 27-point underdog, trails by 14 at the half.
We welcome you back to our halftime studios. I am Tim Brando. College football underway on ESPN, the first of 3 games, and right now the Wolverines have a 14-0 lead, and Desmond Howard has been a factor in this game, Lee Corso. Even in the blustery cold, that play that Lou Holtz really designed for Rocket Ismail when they changed the rules of college football for offensive linemen, really coming in to help him.
Right. 2 years ago, what they do, they put the rules in that the lineman could go downfield as long as the ball was thrown behind the line of scrimmage. Holtz used it for Ismail. Now they're using it for Howard. It's a great thing. Remember, in the second half, with a 14-0 lead, watch Gary Moeller to go in, call Bo Schembecker up and said, hey, Bo, give me some of those old Michigan running plays.
Yeah, that's right. Some old power football in the Big Ten. All right. Casey, football fanatics. A playoff in Division I. Playoff, but he'll run away.
We're making your highways safer. We're providing health care to farm workers and their families. We're sharing college science with K-12 students. From showing the way toward a university education to making the world's waters cleaner and safer, the University of Michigan is all kinds of people in all kinds of places working to make our lives better.
The leaders and best.
Tim Brando. special teams problem's a problem for the Boilers all year long. No different today in Ann Arbor.
It's a 14-0 lead on Purdue, and as John Facenda would say, it was a cold day in Green Bay.
Cold
day in Ann Arbor.
Cold? What are you talking about? You've been in California too long. This is 36-hole weather in Michigan.
I've got
right
my sunblock on.
We got to get you acclimated.
Hey, in that first half, you told me yesterday you have to have the great players to make the great plays, and Michigan certainly has two of them in this man, Ricky Powers, and Desmond Howard.
Great cutback runner. Kakuzo, number 68, cuts off Schwantz, and a cutback into the hole. That's what Powers does so well and why he has such a great rushing average. Now, let's go back to that touchdown play by Desmond Howard. Ball's here on the 47-yard line. To run the screen in college football, to allow your men to get downfield, Desmond has to catch this ball behind the line of scrimmage. Let's freeze it right there where he catches it. Boy, I'll tell you, it's close where that ball was and where he caught it. But look at all the blocks right here. Doherty, Elliott, Skeen, McThomas. 5 good blocks allow Desmond Howard to catch that ball, get into the broken field. One more block here. Yale Van Dyne, number 34, springs him. But great broken field running and good execution. A little bit of question whether he caught the ball behind the line of scrimmage. That allows the offensive lineman to go downfield. Now, the statistics, the most unbelievable one is the 20 timing possession right there by Purdue. But they had really 2 turnovers in my mind. Purdue had the punt when they fumbled the snap and the blocked punt where Bruin did not get it off. And that was really the difference in the scoring right there. And, of course, the weather conditions are not great to throw the ball up in the air. As Lee Corso pointed out and Tim Brando pointed out, it's going to get tougher and tougher for Desmond Howard to catch those big statistical games that he has in the past.
He has 3 catches for 67 yards and a touchdown in this game. He now has 16 receiving touchdowns this year. 43 catches on the season for over 640 yards, and Gary Danielson puts on his jacket.
That was for show. That was TV. That was for TV, guy.
Well, the Michigan cheerleaders, they have been smiling most of this afternoon. Their number 4 Wolverines have a 14-0 lead on Purdue. And Michigan got the football right away, and they only needed a minute to score a touchdown. On a 26-yard drive, Ricky Powers went in from 11. And then, of course, it was Mr. Howard, 47 yards out, and he really did most of the 47 himself with that brilliant 4.4 speed and great elusiveness. Well, he'll be on the receiving end of this kickoff, and look at the way they line up. Tyrone Wheatley and Desmond Howard will actually be in an I formation, and to give Matt Bruin trouble on where they're going to go.
It isn't going to matter. He's going to kick it to about the 25-yard line right here. He's not going to kick it to either one of them.
That's what he should do, because Howard leads the country in kickoff returns better than 33-yard average. But they'll have terrific field position anyway, as Michigan pushes it near the 40-yard line. So it's really, which poison do you pick? Do you give them good field position, or do you kick it to number 21?
Yeah, that really, I think, was a little bit of misjudged right there. They wanted to punch the ball up in the air, but against the wind like they had to, they did not get anything out of it.
Michigan on first down has been brilliant. Purdue, well, that is stronger than they were a week ago against Iowa, but they're still down by a couple of touchdowns. Out of the I formation, Ricky Powers. And Powers, who averaged nearly 6 yards per carry in the first half, a short gain of maybe 2 before Skanina makes the tackle. Skanina was in that strong matchup with the center, Matt Elliott, and that is such a critical position, and he had to move up from left guard to snap that football to Elvis Gerback.
Yeah, they had that change up versus Florida State when Elliott was substituting for Everett, and that was a big point in that football game. Mark Milia came in to solidify the center position, but now they're both hurt, so Elliott slides over again.
Gain of 3 by Powers. Play action pass, Gerback looking for Howard, has his man for the first down at the 46-yard line. 4th catch of the day.
Well, you don't get much credit when you throw a 1-yard pass and the receiver runs 46 yards for a touchdown. But on that one, that was beautifully thrown. Just great execution. Desmond Howard went down about 18 yards, and then Gerback led him back down the sideline. And what Desmond does so well is once that ball's in the air, he finds it and goes right to the point and catches it. like they do it every day, which I guess they do.
Well, they bring Smith in the place of Howard. And they give it to Powers. And Powers to the 40 for the first down inside the 35-yard line, where the tackle's made by free safety Pat Johnson. 12-yard gain by Ricky. And he's nearing 900 yards in the season.
First down.
There you see Matt Elliott. He's snapping the ball. He's going to take his step and seal off the inside right there. It's called combination blocking. This time he gets hardened on his block, but what the center has to do is team up with his two guards and do a little bit of combination blocking.
Howard back in. He's to the top of your screen. They send Van Dyne in motion. And Ricky with a big hole past the 30, inside the 27, before he is stopped by Scanina and also Don Delvey from the outside.
Well, this is what happened to Purdue in the second half versus Iowa last week, as they began to be manhandled as the game went along. Now, McThomas, he's the backup. He's replacing Leggett. He goes 6'4", 240. And I'll tell you, he's a redshirt freshman, and I was on the field. He is all man. When you stand next to him, he looks like, he's 6'5". He looks like he can play any position he wants to play.
Well, he replaces a terrific blocking fullback in Bernie Leggett. They throw it to Desmond. Fifth catch of the day. He's to the 20. He has the first down near the 17-yard line.
And I think they're going to get Skeen for grabbing somebody downfield. Number 72, Doug Skeen, came out on the pass, the screen pass, where the lineman came out to the side this time. And I think he stuck the hand down. Many times that play is passed out there without anyone knowing. This time it was a called play. The linemen were out to help.
Illegal use of hand on the offense. 10 yards from the spot of the ball. Still second down.
And to review what Gary Danielson said in a pregame, you were feeling that they have to come up tight to the line of scrimmage to take that play away.
Yeah, to be honest with you, no one's going to do that much of a change in a one-week time period. Now, in a bowl game, when you can design a defense, Desmond Howard's going to see something like that. But I don't like the idea that Elvis Grbac can just go out there and throw that pass to your best player. It's like a sweep. You got him in his hands. Make him throw it downfield.
On 2nd and 12, they'll go with one back, 3 wide receivers. Blitz comes on. Grbac reads it, throws to his man, and it's incomplete to Walter Smith.
Yeah, give the credit that time to the wind for knocking that pass down, because it went out there. You could just see it take a dive. You're right. Purdue tried to disguise it that time, but it's one of the first times in this game that they blitzed and got in man-to-man coverage. Mo Ankney told us yesterday, defensive coordinator for Purdue, is a lot of guys have attempted to play man-to-man coverage versus Michigan, but they've tipped it off too early. What we have to do is make it look like zone and pick our spots when we play man.
So it's 3rd and 12. Simmons goes in motion. Grbac with the blitz. He's looking to dump it off and just throws it away. So it's 4th down. And Iowa last week on the second play of the second half went 73 yards and a Mike Saunders touchdown. So Iowa feeling a little special here, or rather Michigan, as Purdue has held them.
Yeah, that time it was a screen pass to Ricky Powers, and Robert Hardin, number 91, put the pressure on him, and there was nowhere for him to throw. Now, I'll tell you what Mo is telling Grbac right there. If you read the coverage and you don't think the screen pass is the play, go to another play. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I got to say something. That's my job.
Well, Eddie Ascona comes on to punt it to Ernest Callaway. Inside the 10, let it go, and it slides out of bounds. Let's see where they mark that football.
It blew right to left. He's going to get it on the 8-yard line. A good coffin corner punt.
Purdue, miserable field position to start the second half. A 28-yard punt. 12:06 to play, third quarter.
You're looking at Casey Weldon along with Desmond Howard. And Casey, I know you have some comments about Desmond Howard, and you wish him the best, don't you?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Would like to wish him luck. Look forward to meeting him. He's a class act guy, and I am looking forward to meeting him.
Yeah, Casey just said all the right things for political season. Let's get back out to Ann Arbor now. It's Stephen Gary.
Yes, Tim, but not all the precincts are in. And two of those precincts are Miami and Florida, and Casey could have big games to get him back. But Desmond Howard, again, has been sensational today with 4 catches.
Purdue needs a couple of first downs now to get out of this field position rut that happened to them a number of times in that third quarter against Iowa. Now, Michigan is so tough when they got a team backed up. They play their system on defense as well as anybody in college football, meaning they take away the gaps and they keep bouncing it outside to let guys like Anderson and Walker make a lot of tackles. They're linebackers.
After the gain of 2, Eric Hunter faces a 2nd and 8. Ball at the 10-yard line. Give it to Corey Rogers, but no play-action pass. They throw it. Rodney Dennis, first down, 20-yard line. That got him out of trouble for a moment.
Well, I'll tell you, Hunter had a guy right in his face, number 45, Brian Townsend, on that bootleg play, and he had his back wide open in the flat. I know that's his first guy to throw to, but did you see him rip the ball downfield? He's got big-time talent right here to throw the ball. Dennis is going to come across the field. He's probably the secondary receiver, but that ball comes in like a strike inside the zone. The Michigan linebackers will respect the running game first.
Well, they run out of the eye. Hunter skips that ball to his wide receiver. Now, you were telling me earlier this week that Michigan is one of the great defenses against the I formation. Why, Gary?
Well, I think the system was set up that way when Bo first came here. They run isolation plays in practice. It's spring ball. They know that when they come in the Big Ten, they're going to have to stop I formation football, and they've got a science of it. They started the slant defense with those linebackers, and you grow up in the system and you learn how to do it. Very similar to like a BYU knows how to throw the ball every year. Michigan can stop I formation football. They see it every day in practice.
Will they have to change it simply because so much more passing in the Big Ten?
I think you're starting to see it. They use a nickel now. They run different coverages. They bring on people to play in passing situations.
And they're almost showing a bare front there. They throw an incompletion to Corey Rogers, and it will be 3rd down and 10. I mean, they had like 8 on the line of scrimmage. And for Eric Hunter, he has to read, well, who's coming, who's not. Alabama has the lead on Mississippi State. Tennessee beginning to pull away from Memphis State. Upset team this year. East Carolina, look at them. Beat Tulane 14-7. East Carolina, what a job by Butch Lewis this year. Number 20, Oklahoma. Beating up those Kansas State Wildcats 7-0. Here in Ann Arbor, it is 14-0 Michigan, 11 minutes to play in the 3rd period. On 3rd and 10, Mike Evans with his first sack of the year.
You can see the frustration of a guy who's been an offensive coordinator his whole life. At Arizona State, he coached against Michigan in the Rose Bowl. At Ohio State, he teed it up. He had Jim Everett, as you mentioned earlier in the game, when they beat Michigan, and offensive coordinator was at Purdue. And now he can't dial up any offense right here. Play-action pass. He's got a crossing man. Evans, number 92, is going to come in and get him. I think Brian Townsend from the outside forces him into the pocket. A good job of keeping the quarterback in the pocket.
The left-footed Bruin, he hammers this one. Howard's going to have a chance to bring it back. And he's racing right. Ooh, he has it past midfield, a 47-yard line. A 14-yard return by Desmond after the 50-yard punt by Bruin. Michigan takes over, leading 14-0. Today's presentation of Big Ten football, Purdue and Michigan, is brought to you by BMW, the ultimate driving machine. To arrange a thorough test drive, simply phone your nearest BMW dealer. And by Magnavox, smart choices for smart people. The ingenious products from Magnavox. They're smart, very smart. Is this the new wave? They only do it when the windshield is below 10. They hop up and down to
it's the ripple.
Fall out.
Yeah, to knock the ice off your feet.
The ripple, 106,000 in unison. Here, Michigan with the first down at the Purdue 46-yard line. And they finally give it to the fullback, Greg McThomas. Slides ahead near the 44-yard line. There he is, a big fellow who wanted to play outside linebacker, and Gary Moeller saying his attitude much better this year because they want him at fullback. And he wants that glory position of the outside linebacker.
I'll tell you, I wouldn't want to block him or tackle him. The guy is all man. His arms are bigger than people's legs.
Gain of 2, 2nd and 8. Oh, single coverage on Howard. Now they roll over the zone. And they give it to Ricky Powers, and he's inside the 40-yard line. Well, they almost slid off the outside linebacker at the last moment.
Don Delvey, number 44, is called the Pete linebacker in this defense. And Mo Ankney told us he was going to put him into the sideline all day. And when Howard is over there, they're going to seem like it's man-to-man coverage, but they're going to drop him. But what happens is you open up a hole for Powers to run in. And if Michigan has patience, they will be able to run the ball into the sideline.
Be a slow death. 3rd down and 3. Ricky's fighting for the first down, and I think he has it.
Ball carried by Powers.
He had to get near the 36-yard line for a first down as free safety Pat Johnson made the tackle.
First down for Michigan.
Let's go down to Terry Talifaro down on the sideline.
Well, I bet you never expect 2 different teams to have 2 different footballs, right? Well, strangely enough, that's exactly what's happening here today. The Purdue football, the one that Purdue plays with, is a conventional football, about 14 ounces, 28 inches in circumference. And the Michigan football, a little bit different, has the inverted dimples. It's called the double grip. Back to you guys.
Of Gary Danielson. And Ricky Powers slams forward for about a 9-8-yard gain, and you really don't like the different footballs.
I just don't understand it. You know, let's just choose a football and go with it. I don't see why you got to throw one in for each guy. Pretty soon they're going to have one against the wind, with the wind. You know, if you get into a short pitch shot into where you want to hold the green, you're going to use a different ball. This isn't golf.
Well, what about the Nerf one with the grooves in it?
Yeah, to just pick a ball and use it, I think.
Well, after the gain of 8 by Ricky Powers, it's 2nd down and 2. Walter Smith goes in motion. Give it to Ricky again.
Ball carried by Powers.
Gary Moeller a little critical of Powers running earlier in the year, saying he wasn't hitting the holes. It was as if he was trying to go for a touchdown every single at-bat. And then they put Jesse Johnson in there, and man, does he come at you.
Well, he's had such great success. Now, we haven't seen Jesse Johnson a lot because he had that fumble early in that game on that one play, and now it's Ricky's turn to go out there and run the ball. Now, what you're counting on is, well, as if you're Purdue right now, is will Michigan have the patience to keep running it? Will they go to Desmond now in this area?
Play action pass. Howard's open downfield. They throw it to Van Dyne, incomplete. Johnson, at the last moment, had picked up Desmond as he made the cut to the post.
Yeah, you're right. They had a zone defense. They had Desmond bracketed inside and out with the zone. And I think Elvis was a little late coming to his secondary receiver, and who can blame him? When you throw the ball to Desmond, you get touchdowns. And so you got to take a look for him. But good defense by Purdue in a soft zone. Just threw the ball a little bit high to Yale Van Dyne coming underneath it.
Is in the slot at the top of your screen. And they run Ricky Powers. Powers is near the 20-yard line. They'll need another 5 for the first down. You know, I think the Detroit Free Press writer Steve Kornacki the other day had a wonderful article on Elvis Grbac and his importance to the team, and they quoted you several times, Gary, about Elvis and the growth that he has made at Michigan.
Yeah, I think when you watch him play, you become more enamored with the way he plays the total game. He's running a fairly sophisticated offense. Gary puts a lot of pressure on this guy, and what I like is his mental toughness to stand up at bat and put it on his shoulders and make the tough throw. He is very accurate throwing the ball. See the head signals. He gives a lot of hand signals. Sometimes they don't mean anything. Sometimes they do.
The draw, Powers, sliding. Boy, he is tough runner, and he's near a first down.
Yeah, that's a great run right there. He was tackled for a loss. Beatty, I think, had him first, and he ran through a couple tackles, and it's going to be very, very close to a first down. Looks like it's just short, 4.5 yards, maybe.
And listen to the Ann Arbor crowd.
Now you wonder, well, if they take the 3 points and make it more than a 2-touchdown margin right here, this is a big call.
The Big House saying go for it on 4th down. And they will. McThomas and Powers. Grbac.
Purdue's going to have to take a timeout. They don't have the proper people out there. I think they only have 10.
Jim Coletto takes time. 6:02 to play, third quarter. He's still in the game. Michigan with a 14-0 lead on the Boilermakers from West Lafayette. And 2 seconds remaining, third quarter. Michigan leads 14-0. You see the situation, fourth down and inches. Now, the fade is the call. And you were talking earlier this week, Elvis Gerbach to Desmond Howard making a critical 4th-and-1 call against Notre Dame.
He's done it before, and I think he'll get man-to-man coverage here. And I'll tell you what, I'd force him to throw it here. As windy as it is, it might be your advantage. One-on-one it looks like.
Double tight, give it to Powers, first down.
Ricky Powers has really shown the type of runner he has in this drive, running through some tackles. He set up this 4th and inches right here, a quick pitch. They're going to get it to the side and just put a helmet on a helmet and put your best receiver. Great block by McThomas right there. He takes it out and opens it up. Number 41, the redshirt freshman, really cleans out the play for Powers to make the first down.
And Ricky now with 100 yards rushing, 32 on this drive alone. He now has 902 yards in the season. The 10-yard line, and if you put two guys on,
you know what's great here is you get the feeling that the football's in the middle of the field. There's 21 guys between the hashes, and 106,000 people have their eyes on number 21, who's about 15 yards from the ball right here, because they all figure this is Desmond time right now.
Well, he really opens up the way for Ricky Powers. Again, they're showing zone on Desmond at the bottom of your screen. Delby pulling off.
This is when they run the slant off this play. Play action pass.
No, they give it to Ricky. It's the 5. He smashes forward, and he is to the goal line and will score. His second touchdown of the day.
I don't know if there is a defense for this type of a running play. You run it behind Skrepenik, Skeen, Everett, and they got a big guy, number 41, Greg McThomas, in there too. And that offensive line just keeps mashing forward. McThomas is going to put a hat on somebody and just follow your fullback, and boom, he gets hit at the 5. He runs through it, he goes through it, and those linemen keep pushing, and all of a sudden he puts a knee down in the end.
He is something else. 21-0. Michigan has the lead. 4:59 to play. Ricky Powers, a pair of touchdowns. Let's go to Tim Brando.
Heading in at halftime, Texas Tech has the ball, and watch quarterback Robert Hall. This is not a design play. It's just an ad-lib job. He will rumble 44 yards all the way down to the Texas 8. That would lead to a Lynn Elliott 25-yard field goal. It is 7-6 Horns at the half.
Thank you, Tim. We've got 21-0, and I thought it was rather interesting. We got Casey Weldon on. It was from the deep south, and the draw was coming out rather slowly, and he was bringing it out of Tim, too.
Oh, yeah,
Tim's conversation started slowing down a little bit, too. Well, we've got the North today. There's Ricky Powers, a couple of touchdowns and 107-plus yards rushing. He had 44, 9 times he carried the football on that drive.
They both downhill.
Sun breaking through here at Ann Arbor. We started cold and overcast. J.D. Carlson pumps it near Ernest Callaway. It is out of bounds. The flag goes down. This is the first of our triple-header college football on ESPN. Sean McDonough, Greg James will be coming your way at 4 o'clock Eastern Time with North Carolina State, the number 19 team in the nation, their old rivalry against South Carolina. And then Ron Franklin and Mike Gottfried will be with you for Nebraska and Colorado. Number 9, number 15. One of the great rivalries in the Big 8 Conference. At 7:30, our prime time game on CFA Special.
I was talking to my wife. She said, I rented a movie tonight. I said, well, rent it for 2 nights because I'm watching Nebraska, Colorado tonight.
Yeah, Bill McCartney, your old high school coach. Was it Divine Child?
Divine Child. Well, then Michigan defensive coordinator. And I really showed him a lot of those plays.
I'm sure you did. You said, now, there's a guy Hagan. Get him. Here's Matt Pike in for Eric Hunter, the true freshman from Huntington, Indiana. And they'll run the ball for a short gain as Corey Rogers gets it up near the 38-yard line.
You know, I think with the score here, 21-0, what Jim Coletto is also doing is giving Matt Pike some experience of playing here in Ann Arbor. I mean, 2 years from now, he could be the quarterback when they come back. It's not that Eric Hunter's done anything so poorly in this game. I mean, actually, he's done a pretty good job, but you got to think ahead as a coach, and Matt Pike is going to get some valuable experience.
Well, he came on last week, threw 2 passes and completed 1, but that one went 65 yards to Ernest Callaway for the touchdown. And he'll play action here. He's in trouble. He unloads it, incomplete. Boy, he went down hard as Hutchison came in from that right defensive tackle spot.
Yeah, Hutchison did a great job, and I continue to be impressed with Brian Townsend, number 45. He stays at home. He does his position. He kept Pike in the pocket that time and forced him into the pocket and not let him get outside because it was designed as a bootleg play. Brian Townsend, the senior, playing outstanding football for Michigan.
3rd and 6. No play action here. Pike again, troubled, scrambles free. It's intercepted, 45-yard line. Orwin Brown.
One of the things you try to do when you're trying to avoid the sack is get a good look downfield. Right here, you can see he gets hit just as he lets the ball go. I don't know if that caused the ball to go a little bit left of where he was aiming, but oftentimes when you're starting to release that ball and someone hits your legs, the ball just goes off target. Michigan did a great job of putting pressure on the Purdue quarterback, and that's really going to take Michigan to that next level where they want to go, and that's into the Rose Bowl and winning possibly a national championship.
Let's see if they try and hit it with the home run right away. They look sideline. They get it to Howard, out of bounds, 32-yard line. A lot of times you'll see them go deep right away after the defense is a little stunned by a turnover.
Well, Tank Adams this time has the coverage on Desmond Howard. He's given him a good 10-yard cushion right here. The ball is thrown well on time. Put it to the sideline. Desmond reacts to it and makes the play.
Desmond Howard, 13 yards in the catch, now has 6 catches for 91 yards. And, of course, that earlier touchdown of 47. Downfield, incomplete behind Tony Simmons, the tight end.
Well, you get the feeling right now that Gary Moeller feels comfortable with the score of this football game, 21-0. He wants to throw the ball a little bit and get some stats, get his quarterback. And this isn't running the score up or anything. He knows that to win the Big Ten championship and win in the Rose Bowl, he has to have a team that can throw the ball in these situations. He's giving them a new look. 3 wide receivers, 1 running back.
Tyrone Wheatley, first down and more to the 18-yard line. He had 71 yards rushing last week alone against Minnesota and a couple of scores. He's got 3 touchdowns on the year, and he is a true freshman from Dearborn.
Dearborn Robichaud, one of the most highly recruited players ever to come out of the state of Michigan, a track star, a super football player who is, anywhere else might be being featured in being a national freshman type player.
And Tyrone says he wants to be in the Olympics. I mean, he won the state long jump here in Michigan, 23 feet. 110-meter hurdles champion, 13.7, and that is the event he'd like to make the Olympics in. On play action. They're looking Desmond's way. He's open. Touchdown! Receiving touchdowns in his career. He has now tied Ron Johnson for most touchdowns in a season at Michigan, 19.
But Desmond Howard puts a little bit of a fake to the post move on this one. Comes down, he reads the coverage, he's looking off Jimmy Young, and when he makes the break into the middle of the field, he plants so sharply to the outside and then reacts to not a great thrown ball right here to the butt. What's nice about the pass is it's kept to the outside and gives just Desmond Howard a chance.
7 catches, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns. What a career, what a season it has been for Desmond Howard. And Gary, there are so many people. John Vaughn went early last year. Desmond Howard, he has a choice this year. Do you go? Do you stay? I mean, that is a difficult choice because he says he really loves it here at Ann Arbor.
Well, you know, those are types of decisions that no one can make but Desmond. I think it's nice that someone has an opportunity to do that. I mean, if you want to go play pro football and you think you've gotten enough out of college football, why not? I mean, I have nothing against that. But I'll tell you, it's a great life in college football. You only do it once, but it's very difficult to pass up. Now watch this post move that we're going to do. He's going to come down here, make the post move, and come back to the corner. But what I want to point out is Jimmy Young's mistake on this play. He's got help to the inside. Let's freeze it right now, okay? He's got help in here. He should not be fighting on this post move and allow him to get to the outside. That's the mistake that's made. And when you're a cornerback, you have to know where your help is, and that's what Desmond does so well, is set up that defensive back. But as a defensive back, you have to understand the defense. Jimmy Young had help. He should have stayed outside.
Have you seen a receiver who can make a catch so comfortably, off balance, reaching behind him, off to his right hip?
Yeah, that's really what's impressive about him, is that his body is contorted. He makes catches. I thought about the one about Florida State when Terrell Buckley was all over his legs and arms, and he almost catches in one hand. But even the difficult catches he makes they look spectacular. I got to give him that. But he makes them look somewhat easy. His hands are so soft.
Well, you saw the graphic on the fellow kicking off, J.D. Carlson, 108 straight point after touchdowns. It breaks Peter Stoyanovic's record of Indiana when he had 107. Tim Brando, what do you have for us?
Pittsburgh may be saying bye-bye to a bowl possibility, guys. After 5 straight wins, they could lose their 4th in a row. Glenn Foley, watch this remarkable catch. That's Desmond Howard-like by Clarence Cannon. His second of the day. It's 38-12 BC.
BC lost to Michigan to open this season when Desmond Howard had 4 touchdowns in the game. That was his first of 3 times he has been the Big Ten Player of the Week. He returned a kickoff 93 yards for a touchdown in that game. Now Boston College pounded Pitt. 28-0 Wolverines lead here. And that Pike stays in the game, goes to Corey Rogers, and Rogers spins past the 40.
Ball carried by Corey Rogers.
Most touchdowns in a season. Well, Desmond right on top with Ron Johnson, who played here in '68. And Tom Harmon had 16, and he was the last man to win a Heisman Trophy. The only man to win a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah,
with Amazing
and
Blue.
I think the amazing thing is if you notice all the rest of them were running backs, and that means you're scoring a lot of 1-yard plunges and things near the goal line. You have to throw that ball to that man. He's making some great plays.
Corey Rogers gets the first down and then is pushed back as he meets the 43-yard line.
For the Purdue Boilermakers right now, Corey Rogers is their hope for the future. They do have a very sound running game. This is a highly sought-after running back from Chicago, the high school player of the year in the city of Chicago. Runs the ball hard, built very powerfully. I think what Purdue has to do now is compete. It's 28-0. I know they don't want to just lay down and roll over, and that man is not going to let anybody lay down one play. I guarantee it.
Well, he told us he would tell Eric Hunter politely this week. And he said, I'm only going to tell him politely once. And I think he's showing the same philosophy with the rest of his teammates there.
I tell you, we all, and there's Eric right there, and I continue to say it's not that he played a bad football game in this game. He played a pretty good football game in my mind. This is not a great offensive football team, and a quarterback is only as good as the people around him.
And the system change is so dramatic. Run and shoot to a pro style.
Yeah, it's tough on him. But, I think Coletto is tough on him because it's like being tough on your son. You see something there, and you want to be tough on him because you want to get it out of him. Now, this is what scares Michigan right here. Losing a guy like Chris Hutchinson. I mean, you look down the schedule. They got Northwestern, but then they've got at Illinois and at Ohio State. They don't want to stumble. They read the paper just like anybody else. Let's see how he got hurt. Left part of your screen, number 97. Usually someone falls on you in this situation. From behind, it looks like he just got bent around and twisted that right knee. Or was it left knee? You only got 2 knees. It's got to be the right knee
or the left knee. 46-yard line. Pike has to scramble again. Has the time. Completes the pass. Rodney Dennis first down. Fumbles the football. No, it's incomplete.
Well, I'll tell you, That was a big-time hit in the secondary right there. Rodney Dennis stretched out and caught that football. That probably should have been a fumble. Give credit to everybody on this football field. Give credit to that man for getting up and running to the sideline. You love to see your receivers accept it. Now let's see if we can watch this pass. The ball's thrown high, reaches out, and that ball is caught. 1, 2, and Ware, I think it is, Dwayne Ware puts a big-time hit on him, and that was a fumble. But give credit to everybody. That's how you play football.
Third down. 8 yards to go for Pike and Purdue. Rush on. Look who's there. Eric Anderson straighten him up and gets a sack. He's nearing 400 tackles in his great career.
Well, Matt Pike is being literally thrown to the wolves. As a freshman, you're coming in, they blitzed him right now, and you're going to benefit from it. You're going to have to learn. It was man-to-man coverage, but I'll tell you, there was nobody open to throw the ball to. He had to duck down. There was just good coverage in the secondary, and he didn't have a long time to throw it.
Bruin, best of the Big Ten and the southpaw kicker, sends it off Howard's way. Uh-oh. Look at this. Bruin's the only man who can stop him, and he does. At midfield.
The man is incredible. The man is really incredible. He runs from his very first step when he catches the ball. He's full speed. And maybe that's his best skill right there. He catches it, boom, he's full speed. He's playing at a different level than everybody else is on this football field. And he comes back, Bruin comes across and says, please, oh please, maybe my shoe will make the tackle. And he does.
39 yards in the return.
I happen to believe that this formation that Michigan's coming out with would be their best formation, to spread out the field and run the ball and throw the ball. I saw them use it against Ole Miss in the Gator Bowl last year, and I think they would be extremely tough to stop with that 3 wide out receiver.
Tim, what's going on?
Steve, the Volunteers are running away from the Tigers now in the second half. Watch Aaron Hayden. I mean, that is right up the gut, and he will go all the way for the touchdown. Memphis State's upset challenge going by the boards. Tennessee leading big.
48 seconds to play and counting here. Closing moments, third period. You see Michigan up on Purdue 28-0. And they have the football at the Purdue 44-yard line, second down 6. Ricky Powers over 100 yards rushing already and a couple of touchdowns, and he is near that 37-yard line. Rick Smith came up from a strong safety, about to take the tackle, and Chris Hutchinson, who's bumped his shoulder, and now his knee on the sideline.
I'll tell you, he has had a tough career keeping healthy, and when they have him healthy, they are a different defense than when they don't. Last year, he went down at the end of the first half against Michigan State. Michigan State tore up the Michigan defense running inside because basically that man wasn't there. I think that's Walter Smith who's down there now blocking downfield. Got hurt a little bit. They're great blocking wide receiver. You know, we go back to that formation that Michigan uses that I think is so powerful of using 3 wide receivers. And the reason I like it is they still have that threat of the running game, and it's very, very difficult to slide your defense Desmond Howard's way, and he's going to get a lot more single coverage before it. I think that's what you're going to see when they end up playing Ohio State or Illinois or maybe Washington in the Rose Bowl. Let's see if we can find Walter Smith, number 2, somewhere in this picture. He is top of your screen, W. Smith. He's blocking. You can see everybody land on his back. I think that's what happened. His legs got it, and then maybe an elbow or a foot to his head got him a little bit dizzy. But I think those guys rolling up his back was really what hurt him.
We have done Michigan football 3 or 4 times this year, and every time we visit with Gary Moeller, he just raves about this fellow Walter Smith, saying he is such a competitor.
Yeah, you can tell. That's what I thought it was. He got rolled up on his back. Right, you know, once you play this game, you can recognize how to get hurt. I was an expert at it.
Well, we've got 15 minutes to go. Gary Danielson, who took some pops when Purdue played Michigan years ago, back in the 1920s. Here it is, 1991. Michigan's up again. Miles for Michigan fans. They lead 28-0. But wait a second. Chris Hutchinson, who was the national freshman lineman of the year 2 years ago, is having to leave because of a sprained left knee. He has been plagued by injuries throughout his career, back injuries last year, and here he is in his junior campaign and having to leave. He will not return. Meantime, on the field, Michigan has a 3rd and 4. Howard in the slot. They throw it instead to Van Dyne for the first down, and Yale is inside the 30-yard line.
Pass complete to Yale Van Dyne.
Game day at noon Eastern time. Tomorrow, preview of all the NFL games. Then at 7 o'clock Eastern, it's the primetime show with Chris Berman and the rest of his friends. Then the Denver Broncos take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And the Steelers hope for a replay of last year's game at Mile High Stadium. That's when tight end Eric Green caught 3 touchdown passes as Pittsburgh defeated Denver 34-17. But John Elway, he's been showing a strong gun in 1991. Now there he goes to his helmet again as he's signaling Desmond. Nope, they're going to hand off. So that one was the decoy, and Tyrone Wheatley, a short gain to the 25-yard line. Tim Brando.
Steve, Gary, take a look at Memphis State's nose guard. Play the passing lane. Andy Kelly makes an errant pass, and Chris Hobbs, the nose guard, will rumble and stumble. Well, he doesn't really have to stumble. He goes all the way, though. 97 yards, and Memphis State suddenly back in it, possibly.
And bumbling. 28-0. Michigan has the lead on Purdue at Ann Arbor. 14:44 to play. We've had a special game from Desmond Howard.
The penalty is declined. 2nd down.
So it'll be 2nd and 10. And there's Mr. Howard with his 18th and 19th touchdowns of this season.
Where you see Michigan, they coach on the field. They don't go to the sideline. They got 12 headsets and 6 players out there signaling those plays in. I continue to say that rule should be changed. They should not allow those coaches to get on the field like that.
Cincinnati's coach, Sam Weiss, calls it that sugar huddle. Gerback to throw. He looks downfield. Van Dyne with the catch, and he lunges to the goal line.
The impression right here that you see when you see that pass is Elvis Gerback does not get enough credit for how accurately he throws the ball. He's 6'5". He sees the defense. He looks off. Now watch this shot. This is put in between the zone over a linebacker right on target. That Tank Adams has got pretty good coverage right there, and that's about as good as you can throw a football and complete a pass. Gerback is tremendously accurate throwing the football.
And he's got his Wolverines 1st and goal at the 1. Wheatley, he's in.
Wheatley, as you said, Michigan high school long jump champ, and he put it to good use right there. McThomas goes over first and grabs Schwann's number 48. And then Wheatley just follows him into the end zone and goes about 16 foot on that one right there.
He could do the pole vault without the pole.
Tremendous athlete.
J.D. Carlson trying to make it 109 straight without a miss. And he has it. Michigan only led 14-0 at the half with 13:52 to play. They've opened it up on Purdue. Bill in Michigan is brought to you by Jaguar, a blending of art and machine, and by Bud Light. Everything else is just a light. You know, I understand those camouflage outfits that they have as we took a look at those fans in the stands, but orange camouflage, well, there is Todd Collins back up to Elvis Gerback. And he may be coming on with Elvis giving him that 35-0 lead. Michigan to kick off, and J.D. Carlson will be booming it deep to Corey Rogers and Ernest Callaway. Gerback has thrown for a pair of touchdowns. He now has 22 on the season, and that is a Michigan record. He had 21 last year, which was a Michigan record. And he set himself, broke it at 91. Short kick. And they call for the fair catch at the 25-yard line. Let's go down on the sideline with Terry Talifaro.
Hey, Stephen Gary, if you're in business in Ann Arbor, probably the best way to make a fast buck is to rent a fast plane. There are about a dozen Michigan planes flying over our heads. They advertise everything from salad dressing to a marriage proposal. What's really unique about these planes, though, is that they fly down to Ann Arbor Airport, they unhook the banner, and without even touching the ground, they connect a new one. Isn't that great?
Well, that's the way we catch our flights. Here we are, Purdue at the 27-yard line. Matt Pike stays in at quarterback, and they'll run that I formation, and they'll give it to Corey Rogers. Boy, I like this guy. He's outside the 35-yard line for a first down before Corwin Brown bumps him out of bounds.
Carried by Corey Rogers.
A lot of time to get some experience now. Another true freshman playing. Purdue has 7 true freshmen that are playing for them regularly, not maybe starting every game, but playing. And that's the state of the program when Jim Coletto's come in. He can't afford to redshirt a lot of players. He's got to get them out there and play. He's in there 2 deeps.
Near midfield, 23-yard run by Rogers. He now has 39 yards on the day, and Pike's going to the air on play action. Completes the pass, first down, 32-yard line. That is his first completion of the day on 5 attempts, 18 yards on the catch by Tedman Brown.
Tedman Brown ran a nice comeback route down the sideline. Michigan has all their substitutes in. Their second-team defense is in. 35-0 spot is enough, and they're going to let some other people play now and try to get them to keep that shutout.
They go to Connors, and he slides forward near the 30-yard line. They got a drive going. They're trying for their first score of this game. They find themselves down 35-0 with 13-13 to play.
Well, this is the 3rd time we've seen Michigan. We saw them at Michigan State. You know, we saw them against Indiana, which was a great football game, and now. And I think as the more you watch the Michigan team, the more you realize, you know, we had that open about the different weapons and like an army, and they really do. They just have so many weapons to come out to you. When they have the football, they're going to do a lot of damage.
Pike gives it right to Rogers, and he is wrapped up immediately. Marcus Walker coming up after our football game, college football scoreboard show. All those scores you've been watching on our ESPN afternoon special with Big Ten football, you'll see highlights of. There's Corwin Brown. He is the strong safety. Reading the eyes of Matt Pike. On 3rd and 2. Pike will option. He'll keep it. He's to the 20 and has the first down.
Ball carried by the quarterback, Matt Pike.
Well, coming up on ESPN, we'll have North Carolina State, the 19th best team in the country, going against South Carolina. That's 4 o'clock. So in a little 45 minutes. Then at 7:30, the CFA primetime game, Tom Osborne against Bill McCartney, number 9, Nebraska against number 15, Colorado. And wasn't it last year that Nebraska had the big lead entering the 4th period, and McCartney's team came back and they went on to the Orange Bowl. Well, they slammed forward. And the lean of those running backs, Arlie Connors, even Lloyd Carr said, I don't think they have the best running backs in the Big Ten, but they have the best combination.
Yeah, I think as a group, he respects 1 through 4, 4 guys that can hurt you, both blocking, running, catching the ball. Connors, Coleman, Corey Rogers, and Jeff Hill. And that's the type of thing that Purdue's going to have to get to if they're going to compete week in and week out against the Big Ten.
Connors near the 10.
Michigan's backups in here. Let's point that out. They're trying to keep that shutout, and I know Lloyd Carr, the defensive people, are working really hard. They'd like to see this game finish with a goose egg. And on the other sideline, Jim Coletto saying, come on, guys, let's finish this game. Let's play 60 minutes. Let's learn how to play winning football, and that means no matter what the score is, we play as hard in the first quarter as the last quarter.
Look at this drive, 64 yards. Their first 9, they only accumulated 125. And Pike's got him going. Rogers dropped the football, but he must have played some rugby in his day because he knows how to drop it and scoop it right back up.
Yeah, Michigan came with a corner blitz that time, and Rogers took a little wide handoff angle, and Pike did not quite get the ball there. Rogers dribbled it up through the hole, and kind of the lane was a little crowded. The paint was crowded there.
Indiana, 25. And Pike's got him going. Rogers dropped the football, but he must have played some rugby in his day because he knows how to drop it and scoop it right back up.
Yeah, Michigan came with a corner blitz that time, and Rogers took a little wide handoff angle, and Pike did not quite get the ball there. Rogers dribbled it up through the hole, and kind of the lane was a little crowded. The paint was crowded there.
Indiana had an important game today, hosting Minnesota. They lead 24-0, and I'm sure both these coaches, Gary Moeller and Jim Coletto, will be heading back and taking a look at Ohio State and Iowa later today.
And you know, if Iowa wins, it's kind of interesting. If Iowa beats Ohio State, it means that Michigan can lose a game, even to Ohio State, and still go to the Rose Bowl. So everybody in Ann Arbor will be rooting for them.
Right now, Jim Coletto has his own worries with Michigan. 9:54 to play. He's down by 5 touchdowns. Conference looking for their 5th straight win and trying for a shutout today of the Purdue Boilermakers. Purdue has the football at the 9-yard line, and they have a 4th down and 1 with true freshman Matt Pike running this drive. This is play number 9.
It's Michael Jackson Pike with that one glove on his left hand and then a bare hand on the other side.
Well, let's see if he can show us a little showtime right here. Full house backfield. Second back through, gets the first down. Tim Brando, what do you have for us?
Texas Tech and Texas. Take a look at this. First, 46 yards, Robert Hall to Rodney Blackshear. That will set up this play call by Spike Dykes. Anthony Lynn to Anthony McDowell. Take off the hat. Show us your wares. Mr. McDowell making it 12-7 in the 3rd.
Take a bow. 35-0 here, Jim. Michigan leading, 9:40 to play. Louis Michael just got that first down. They'll run right. Nothing there. Great tackle. Alfie Birch.
Alfie Birch comes on the game in the nickel situations. Lloyd Carr told us that if he had to put one defensive back on Desmond Howard in practice man-to-man, he'd choose that man, Alfie Birch. He's done a good job hitting and making tackles. We saw it at the end of that Indiana game. He made some key tackles, and right there he made a nice play on forcing the man outside and wrapping him up.
That's Denny Chronopoulos, right guard, the injured player in the field, a junior from Montreal, Quebec. Former defensive tackle who moved to the offensive line this year and banged up a leg and leaves the game. They'll bring on David Bratt to fill his spot on that right side. Back near the 10. 2nd and goal. Callaway motion. Pike to throw. Incomplete. Alfie Birch again. You know, they have not had the great secondary players since losing Veda Murray and Trip Wellborn last year.
Well, we're wondering if that's an interference call or a pick call down there because it's thrown by the side judge. Now, I think Lloyd Carr's calling for the pick call from that expression right there. This ball was thrown slightly behind Dennis. Dead into coverage. It was 4-on-2. They had the perfect defensive call. 2-man route.
The ball was ruled uncatchable. 3rd down.
I'll tell you.
Uncatchable?
I don't know.
Birch knocked it away.
You'll see. They call it uncatchable. Maybe they didn't see Desmond Howard make some catches like this earlier, but that ball's catchable. Holy cow. Oh, well. 35-0, it's not going to make a big deal in the game, but everybody's playing hard out there, and they would like to have a good call. Rodney Dennis believes he could have caught that one.
Only 4 penalties total in this game. We had the 2 teams with the fewest amount of penalties in the Big Ten playing today in Purdue and Michigan. Clean game. Strange calls. Now we've got a 3rd and goal. Pike is wrapped up 14-yard line. The 3rd sack of the day. And Randy Stark, number 99, was the man leading the way.
Stark gets the sack, but give the credit to the coverage that time in the secondary. It was a blitz situation, man-to-man coverage back there, and there was no one wide open to throw to. Now what Pike has to do is say, man-to-man, I'm throwing the ball, and if you're covered, that's your fault. I'm not going to hang on to that ball. In a man-to-man situation, your job is to get open. I'm not going to hang on to it.
Here's Joe O'Leary. Career best is 32. This is from 31. Straight on. And Michigan holds on to their shutout as O'Leary sweeps it to the left, and the wind was pushing it that way. 35-0, Wolverines leading.
Purdue had a nice successful drive that time. Corey Rogers ran the ball, Pike threw some nice plays. When they got down into the scoring zone and went 3 backs in the backfield, they could not move it into the end zone.
Well, next Saturday, Gary and I will be at Minnesota for Ohio State, the 13th best team in the nation, against the Minnesota Golden Gophers. Then we've got Georgia, number 22, against Steve Spurrier's Florida team, number 6 in the nation. 3rd game of our tripleheader, Clemson, number 16, at North Carolina. Anywhere on the road in the ACC is tough. 8:10 to play here. Michigan trying to make it 5-0 in the Big Ten. Todd Collins, new quarterback. He gives it to Wheatley for a short gain.
Quarterback for Michigan, number 10, Todd Collins.
Here's Todd Collins, redshirt freshman from Walpole, Massachusetts. He's the guy who backed up Matt Rogers, who went on to Iowa. And that was in high school. There you see the Indiana scores. They lead Minnesota 24-6. Later today, number 11 Iowa against number 13 Ohio State. Hawkeyes have always had a tough time beating the Buckeyes in recent years. Collins to the air, and the passes drop. That's Philman Malvo. There's Elvis Kerback. You know, we were talking about his family. They're from Croatia. His brother's name is Engelbert. And Engelbert, you think, well, Elvis and Engelbert, folks must be music lovers. Not the case for Engelbert Humperdinck. No, there's a Bishop Engelbert over in Croatia, and Elvis is just a very popular name.
I'll tell you, he's been stringing some sweet music, throwing that ball every time I've seen him. Every time he just throws that ball around, and I'm just so impressed with how he puts it in spots for receivers to catch it.
Collins back on 3rd down, dump off. Johnson back in there after the 2 fumbles, and man, look at him run.
Michigan has their 2nd team in right now, and they're giving him experience. And the most important guy to get experience is Todd Collins. If Gerback goes down in a big game, this man has to be ready. To give him a safe pass to start the game out. He throws the screen. And what Johnson does so well is streak through those arm tackles. You have to tackle him head on. An arm tackle is just not going to bring that low man down.
The 45. He's to midfield, and a strong 8-9-yard gain by Tyrone Wheatley. High school All-American, had 4,257 yards in his great high school career at Dearborn Heights. How many times do you see this kind of room at the big house?
When it gets down to 10 degrees and the score is 35-0, that's about what you see up there. Yeah. Gary Moeller has to be very happy with his football team. They're going to go into the Northwestern game, their remaining schedule, and I'll tell you, he's got his eye on undefeated and Rose Bowl. He wants to coach in the Rose Bowl.
Collins gives it to Johnson, and he blasts forward for a 4-yard gain to the 45-yard line. Well, Michigan, as you take a look at their schedule, they have Northwestern at Illinois and Ohio State left. 2 important games, particularly the game at Champaign is going to be tough. And, of course, the year-ender with Ohio State is always a great contest. And for Ohio State, they've got Iowa, Minnesota, Indiana, and Michigan, so their road much tougher.
Yeah, they have 3 teams that are very much capable of beating them. And that Minnesota game at Minnesota, you know Ohio State's going to go in there and try to run it. And if one thing Minnesota does well, it's stop the run.
Michigan leading 35-0 now. And they have a whole host of youngsters in now.
Yeah, it looks to me like Skeen, number 72, and Doherty, number 70, are the only 2 starters remaining on the offensive line. And that probably is more from not having backups. They've got some people hurt. Everett's not there. Emilio's not able to play, so you just have to play them. And now they're even going to put in some more tight ends and different wide receivers. So we're going to have the whole roster going.
Complete. Walter Smith past the 40-yard line, and boy, he's close to a first down. Go get him, Walter. Coaches love him, players love him. He was a scout team member last year when he was redshirted. And you know all about Desmond Howard and his exploits this year. Well, maybe number 2 will be their next great receiver. Derek Alexander, you remember, injured in the first game this year against Boston College, so he is being hard-shipped, and he had 30 catches and 6 touchdowns last year.
Yeah, he'll be back next year, and he is a very talented receiver. Now, for that man right there, this was his worst nightmare. He looked at it and he said, all right, Iowa on ESPN, I'll take that game. And then when he heard about that he was going to be the sidekick for the Desmond show on television and ESPN, he said, hey, I don't know if we're ready for that. And, you know, I tried to equate it. It's like practicing a new golf swing and now taking it out and trying to play Jack Nicklaus with it. I mean, this team is not ready for this level of competition, especially on national television.
They go to McThomas, the big fullback from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and he has a short game. Coming up next, the Scoreboard Show, a look at all of college football's highlights and scores from around the nation and the importance they bring their conference way as we head towards that bowl picture. Who will play who and what great showcases at the end of the season. Michigan looking like they're going to go to the Rose Bowl, the granddaddy. Sure, Hayden Fry saying, wait a second, respect us.
Yeah, Michigan's got an illegal formation. Oh, now they move on.
Collins, play action. He has Johnson open, and Johnson has the catch at the 30-yard line. Well, he just kind of went right over the middle and just waited.
Well, you wonder, you know, and you can't take this personally if you're Purdue, because the score's 35-0 and there's 4 minutes to go. But what Moeller's doing is thinking about getting Todd Collins ready in case he has to play him. And the only way you can do it is get in the game. Remember, his non-conference schedule was very tough. He didn't have the opportunity to play these backups in non-conference games, so he's been looking for games like this to play some of his second-line players.
It's third down. 5 yards to go. They give it to Johnson. Johnson's nearing the first down. Very close. Let's go to Terry Talbaro.
Hi, right now we're here with Desmond Howard's father, James Howard. How do you feel about the way your son's playing today?
He's playing pretty good so far. Yeah, he's playing real great, real great.
Yeah, he's a Heisman Trophy candidate this year.
Yeah, well, he's pretty strong with the Michigan offense they got up there. It makes it real open up for him. Yeah, he plays pretty strong with the offense.
You're sitting right next to the Gerbachs. Have you had any conversations with him about the two guys really working together this year?
Quite a bit. Me and them were talking about what they was going to do this first half, but they broke it open. I got to turn around.
Doing a great job. Don't worry. Okay, well, thanks a lot. We're going back up to you guys.
All right, on fourth down, they give it to Johnson. Johnson first down. Jesse Johnson inside the 10-yard line. You know, we've got a 35-0 lead, and every week since Desmond Howard and Elvis Gerbach have been playing, there's a shot at Desmond. We saw his dad, James. The Gerbachs and the Howards sit together. They watch their kids play high school football together at St. Joe's in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yeah, Cleveland, St. Joe. Now, I was wondering now, does he sit up there and call plays? And I just tell him, throw the ball And then when we ride home together, we just talk all the plays together when they ride back to the Cleveland area. Got to be a lot of fun. I wonder if they're up there saying, throw the ball to Desmond.
He lost the bet. Return and not one down. Penalty is declined. First down.
Well, the penalty was against Purdue, so Michigan will have a first and goal inside the 9-yard line. Todd Collins went over towards his head coach, Gary Mulder, to check the signs, and they're going double tight end. Lone wide receiver, Walter Smith. Johnson to the 5. And he's pushed back by Corey Walden, senior from Chicago, Illinois. Well, they've got the younger players in there, including Ryan Wilson, Dan Brecky, and inside linebackers replacing Schwanson Beatty. Collins, an impressive driver. We remember him in that Florida State game where he came on and completed 5 straight passes against the #1 team in the nation. Johnson will leave now. Tyrone Wheatley in. Second and goal from the 5. Wheatley, he drags him to the goal line. Let's go to Terry Talaferro.
We're here with the father of Mr. Elvis Gerbach. I guess Elvis is living today, huh?
Yeah, very much.
Hey, what do? Do you wear the Michigan hat when you go back to Ohio?
I change. When I go to Ohio, I say I put Ohio, okay?
Oh, he's a great guy. Elvis Gerbach was born in the United States, but his dad came over from Croatia. Collins, handoff, Wheatley, he's in. Touchdown. His second touchdown of the day, the second straight week. He has scored a pair of touchdowns. And Michigan hammering the Purdue Boilermakers. You know, Jim Coletto, he has to be patient, and he knows it. But you talk to so many coaches around the Big Ten Conference, and they say if you have a young man, you want him to play for Jim Coletto, because when he leaves that university, he is going to be a full-grown man.
And Tyrone Wheatley, he's getting to be like Sam Bam Cunningham for USC back. When you get it to that 1-yard line, just let him go over the top. He's very tough to stop. He's fast, and he can jump, and 2 TDs on 32 yards. I bet Jesse Johnson's not too happy about that. He runs it all the way down the field. They put in Wheatley to score.
Well, it's 41-0. J.D. Carlson will try and add to his Big Ten record of consecutive extra points. And he makes it 110 straight, and Michigan is pummeling Purdue 42-0.
Grab some drinks, relax a bit, and party with ESPN's home video. College Football Funnies, hosted by Chris Fowler. Talk about a head-turner. Call now to order. Operators are standing by. 1-800-523-9600. College Football Funnies can be yours for just $19.95. So call now.
1:13 to play in this ball game. Michigan with a 42-0 lead on Purdue. J.D. Carlson comes on to kick off again. He's been booming them. This is his 8th kickoff in this game. 1 to start the contest, and 7 following scores.
Nate Holger, the inside linebacker and baseball player for the Michigan outfield, came down and made that play on that one.
He'll stay in the game at inside linebacker. They feel he has a terrific future. And against Steve Morrison, who suffered that injury against Michigan State earlier this year on a game on ESPN, he is back, he is walking, and they hope that he will be healthy for either Illinois or Ohio State. Actually jogging. And they're surprised how quickly he has come back. Corey Rogers past the 20-yard line. Corey Rogers, Chicago City Player of the Year. A year ago, they wanted to redshirt the young freshman, but he was so good, and they were not deep at running back that Rogers has to play a lot.
Well, this is our last Michigan game that we'll be doing, and as we watch them, I think you'll agree, they just get more impressive every time you watch them. They've got a tremendously blended offense, and take advantage of that man right there, Desmond Howard, and making the defense stop him.
He set some records today. Arlen Connors near the 20-yard line. Well, Michigan will be 5-0 after today, and they'll have at least a one-game lead. In the Big Ten Conference, the only unbeaten school. Winding it down. Later today, Iowa is at Ohio State. Purdue will drop to 3-5. Michigan 7-1 on the year. Matt Pike says, thank you very much to Nate Holdren. And Michigan beats Purdue 42-0. Desmond Howard scores a couple of touchdowns today, his 18th and 19th of the year. Coming up next, we've got the College Football Scoreboard Show. Highlights, scores from our games throughout the nation. For Gary Danielson, I'm Steve Physiak. The Desmond Howard Heisman Trophy chase continues as Michigan beats Purdue 42-0, and Howard scores 2 touchdowns.